Good evening. It's still a little bit daylight outside here in the Boston area, which is nice this time of year. Welcome to American Hammers TV, part of the American Hammers Network. We're glad you're here. This is our last show of the season. I think we'll be back next week to wrap the season, and then we'll see how the summer goes. But this is our last show with a matchup coming. And there's still a lot to play for, as you know. If you're watching this, you know that already. Anyway, if you would, please like and subscribe. It helps us a lot, helps us keep the lights on, helps us keep the channel going. And also, if you want to check out some gear, some things you can buy, some West Ham stuff from your supporters group, wherever you are in the world, check out ahtv.threadless.com. Threadless, as in without threads. HTV, like American Hammers TV, .threadless.com. So that'd be really helpful to us if we could do that. Also, I'm going to share my link, my GoFundMe link for my friend Ensa in the Gambia, who has started a West Ham United youth club. I've mentioned him before. He's 16 years old. He's got 70 kids in this club. And we've been raising money. We bought them a lot of stuff. We bought them boots. We bought them bibs. We bought them cones, balls. I'll tell you what happened, though. I bought a bunch of balls and I sent them over. And apparently, it's very hot in the Gambia, and they play on sand. They don't really have grass. They play on sand. All the balls popped,
Oh, wow.
all of them, except for one. So I had to buy him a whole new set of. I actually sent him money the second time. I just said, you know what, I'm going to send you money. You go buy balls, and so he went and bought balls where he lives, so they can get some that won't pop. Anyway, so they've got balls to train again. They are trying to get some kits or at least some shirts so they can enter some tournaments. They need shirts. So if you can help with that, please do. Hi, Vern. It's good to see you. Uh, well, we'll talk about this in a minute. But yeah, if you can help with that, please do. It'd be really great. He's a great guy, loves West Ham, is giving these kids a great outlet to do something in one of the poorest countries in the world. So I want to support him as much as we can. I do not feel very well tonight. I don't mind telling you, I'm a little bit sick. It's not COVID, so you don't have to wear masks, guys. You can go mask free. It's fine. Don't have the COVID, but I do have allergies, and it is allergy season here in Massachusetts, and I seem to have caught some sort of cold, so I may not talk as much as usual tonight, which should be a good news for everybody, right? Should make everybody happy. Anyway, who is with me? Who's next to me? Scott in Reno, Nevada. How they say it there, from what I understand. Reno, Nevada. Is that how they say it? They're going to unmute. I can't hear you unless you're Scott. You got to unmute.
Sorry, they say Nevada, which I don't know. I don't understand.
See, that's funny. I knew a girl in college who was from Nevada, and she said it was Nevada. So but I would say Nevada that's like how I would pronounce it. But
it's more British, Nevada, no?
Yeah, I mean it's a
Nevada.
Spanish word. Obviously, it's got to be a Spanish word of some sort, or a Native American word of some sort, right? It has to be one of the two. Anyway, yes, the good old pup. No, he sent me pictures. It really happened. He sent me pictures, and then he sent me pictures. He sends me pictures of everything he buys. If I send him money to buy something like shoes, it's easy for him to buy shoes than for me to buy shoes and ship them over. He sends me pictures of everything they buy, all the kids wearing them, all the boys with everything. So anyway, balls really did pop, which I've had West Ham balls do that on me too, so I know how that goes. Anyway, what do I feel like? This is the first time. Well, it might be.
It is the first time I haven't worn a hat.
It's the first time he hasn't worn a hat. Sorry, there's Scott down below. He looks like a West Ham badge from the good old days.
Yeah. It's velvet. It's a velvet badge.
Yes. Yes.
I bought it when my wife and I were visiting London. I was like, I have to have it. It's velvet. That's nice.
What is it really?
Yeah.
It's velvet, really?
Yeah, it really is. You can see like it's starting to wear, but yeah, all the dark part is velvet. It's just nice. You sit there and rub it. It's nice.
Wow, that's swanky.
The club store sometimes has something you can't find online.
I wasn't ready for that dress code of that level tonight, so I have to say I haven't lived up to it. Anyway, down right below me on the screen, you can't see him because he's probably trash, but that's okay. We're glad he's here. Directly from somewhere in East London, it's Lucas. How you doing, Lucas?
I am fantastic. Just another day in beautiful, rainy London. It was actually boiling today, to be honest, which was nice, but now it's a bit rainy.
it wouldn't be London if it weren't a little rainy while you're there. It's got to
It
rain
was
some while you're
actually
there.
boiling today, though. I went over to the bowling ground today, Upton Park, and it was almost 80 degrees.
Well,
Wow.
they don't. I mean, and they don't handle heat well in Europe. They don't really have air conditioning for the most part, so you really feel it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh,
You feel it
goodness.
big time. Um, you're in Essex, not London. Oh, okay. He's in Essex. All right. Well, I mean, he's in the neighborhood. He's in the neighborhood. And then down in the corner here, from my home state, although a very long way from where I grew up, hundreds of miles from where I grew up, down in South Texas, on the border of Mexico. It's Matt. How are you, Matt?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Yeah, not bad. How you doing?
Well, I'm okay. I'm okay. Now
Apart from the cold.
I'm looking at all these things. Right. And I didn't have a car when I lived in Paris, so it was just hot all
Can,
the time.
can I just chip in just quickly with the Nevada debate?
Of course.
As I'm fluent in Spanish, the word Nevada in Spanish actually means snowy or like snow covered.
Huh.
So like a big thick covering of snow. So I guess, I mean, I've only been to Las Vegas a couple of times, so I guess it might be related to the state by the weather, no, in the December to February, I guess, where it's quite snowy.
Yeah, I mean, it snowed 3 days in a row in May this year.
Wow.
That's
Nothing
in
stopped, but
Reno.
it was
Wow.
serious snowfall 3 days in a
Wow.
row, and you're just like, where did that come from?
That's in Reno, right?
So that's
Yeah.
where it comes. I guess that's where it comes from. And Nevada, from the Spanish, to snow a lot or to be snowy.
So I want to. So Tom will not leave me alone. Okay, he's chosen not to join the show. He's just bugging me from the chat room tonight. But anyway, Tom will leave me alone. So I want to. Let's just start with this. All right. So Tom sends me a message, and he says, and I'll never find this now that I'm going to look for it. He wants me to. He wants me to change my opinion on the leaked West Ham shirt. Have you seen this? Have you seen it?
Yep.
The one my daughter drew.
Yeah, no, your daughter
daughter
could
did
do,
the
no, your
shoulder
daughter would
art?
do a much better job. Now, here it's been on Twitter all day, circulating around Twitter all day. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Let me pull it up for you here. It's what I have to say at the moment. Oops, that's the wrong thing. At the moment, I'm not a fan. Okay, now if we win Conference League or Europa League or the Premier League or some other trophy in this shirt, it'll be the greatest shirt I've ever seen. But at the moment, I gotta say, I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it. What do you guys think? Huh? Tom likes it. He wants me to like it. West Ham latest is I could have done a better job. Yeah, I think I could have too.
You can't make me like that shirt. It won't happen.
I don't like it. Look, now here's the thing. It's based on this, and just as this Twitter person here says, and he's quite right about this. Awful kit. For some reason, they modeled it on this as one of our worst kits. It is one of our worst kits. It's a terrible shirt. Awful. Not even from a very good era. If that was a relegation shirt, if I remember correctly, or right around that era in the late 80s, early 90s when the club was bouncing up and down, so not even good memories come from that. I just don't like it. I'm sorry. I don't like it. What do you guys think? I'll throw it open to you.
Lee, I think it's reminiscent of that 94 World Cup look. You remember that hideous shirt the United States wore, that blue one that looked like it was
like
denim? Yeah, right. So it's reminiscent of that. So it's that whole early 90s vibe, but you can't make me like that top. It just won't happen.
See, I think there's a generational thing here, okay? Because Scott you're probably roughly close to my age, right? I'm 48, okay? So you're probably in your 40s is my guess. People who grew up in the 90s, like I grew up in the 80s, mostly. I graduated high school in 1992, so I grew up in the 80s as a kid. People who grew up in the 90s and the 2000s, they have nostalgia for stuff like this, that I just do not have. I like a clean, simple shirt for the most part. But the 90s football kits went bonkers, if you remember. They went crazy.
I love the kit you're pointing at. Not the new one, but I love the
This
old
one?
one.
Wait, let me get down to this one right here. That one?
Yes, I love that one. Mostly because the Dagnamo sponsorship really makes it for me. And it's a collar, or not a collar. What do they call that again? Fucking the type of collar. What is that called?
Well, it's just a collar. I mean, it's it's
But
like it's a little bit like this one. Yeah.
Basically, this kit, I don't mind it, but as long as the collar isn't like super snug, I think I can.
That's
I can
my
do with
biggest
it.
concern. I'm afraid this thing
Yeah.
would choke me. I'm afraid the shirt would choke me because, you know how it is, Lucas. We American gentlemen, we have girthy necks. You know what I mean?
Yes.
A lot of these guys in Europe, they have little tiny pencil necks, but we have
Too much girth for Brexit.
Right. We have girth. Exactly. We have a certain level of girth, and you got to have a collar that accommodates girth. And I've had shirts where you get them, and everything else about the shirt fits, but the collar's like, I can't breathe. It's like
I
wearing
know
a tie.
nothing
at all
about
times.
girth.
No, it's
Yeah.
terrible. It's terrible.
Is the most I've ever heard the word girth being talked about? On the
Yes.
West?
Well, we're not shy
Girthy
about
necks,
our
girthy beards.
we're not shy about
Everything.
we're not shy about our countenance. It's true. So but I mean, if they had just taken the shoulders and just made them solid colors, I sort of don't mind that. It's this
No,
weather
what
effect.
I'm more worried about. I don't know. I don't know if you've seen this, but it's been going around on Twitter that our third kit is white and orange, like a fucking creamsicle.
I
I
have
would
heard
be
that.
absolutely disgusted.
Well,
I don't want
you
to
know
look
what?
I don't want to look like the 1980s, 1990s Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I do want to look like the 1970s and 80s Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I love those uniforms.
No, I do
But-
too, but that's just not the right football.
But I don't. I'm very skeptical that they're going to pull it off. I have to tell you in all honesty. Somebody posted an orange kit on Twitter that I suspect was in no way real. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I can't find it now again. I think it was just a mock-up somebody did. If you're going to do orange, it better be really, really good, like exceptionally good.
I like
And
a
I'm thinking
Phoenix
it probably
Suns
won't be.
orange personally.
Right. I don't know.
What's up?
No, go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
No, I'm not surprised about the kit, to be honest, because if I don't know if you guys remember, but the away kit that we have right now was actually the away kit in that 91, 92, 92, 93 period that this shirt is based on. So it looks like that they're trying to drag, they're trying to bring us out from that era, because that was with the transition where we went from BAC Windows to Dagnum Motors. So the actual white and blue striped shirt which is our away shirt now, was our away shirt in that period. So they've kind of, piggybacked to take the home shirt this season, which in fact,
that's true.
Which in fact for me, if they'd have just gone ahead another year or two to the first Dagnum Motors with the blue V under the neck.
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
That was one of my favorite ever shirts. And I don't know if you remember the 94, 95 third kit that was white with like the claret shoulders that we barely wore it. And that was just before it went cream. Later they moved it onto like
I have
cream
almost
third
every
shirt.
Dagnum Motors kit, and I literally love them all.
Yeah, and so I think, and then they had the one with the blue collar. Do you remember with the shirt collar?
Yeah,
the blue one. I mean, I think if they're gonna go for a shirt from that period, I mean, it's not a bad shirt. I think they've done it poorly.
Right.
That's the one.
Oh,
That's the one. No, that's
so
now I like
beautiful.
this.
Yeah,
I
have
like
that one.
my
That's
favorite's
nice.
the cream. My favorite's the cream. The cream is my favorite kit of all time.
The
But
cream,
Yeah, I really think though that they've not done it as well as they could have. I think the fading on it is unnecessary. I don't know why they've decided to fade it, because West Ham have always been a block colours. We've always been recognized.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that one is a weird decision, but I think that realistically they're trying to keep around that period. I think they're trying to piggyback on the success of the late 80s. Entering the Premier League early 90s.
And bring back the central positioning of the
but,
sponsors and
but
badges.
West Ham were not very successful in the late '80s, though, Matt. It was like, up and down,
up and
and
down,
you know what I
up and-
mean?
Well, I mean, Tony Cottee period, and going from the Premier, getting up into the Premier League.
Yeah,
But
mid '80s were more successful.
I don't know, Lee, if you got it there. I think it was the kit that they used in 80 or 81. I don't know if you got that kit. I think it was 80 or 81. That was a kit. I think it was when we had Adidas. Because I remember my dad had it. That was a kit that I really liked.
I'll tell you. I'll pull up the one that I'm thinking of, and see if it's the one you're.
It wasn't the Avco ones, was it?
No, it didn't have a sponsor.
No, it didn't have a sponsor. This one.
Yeah, okay. I think here. Let me pull this one up. I think this is the one you're thinking of.
I remember my dad had it because I was born '86, and I remember he kept it. That's the one. That's the one.
This is one of the finest football shirts ever made. I love
that one.
That is gorgeous. That is a perfect football shirt. There is nothing wrong with it. It is absolutely stunning to me.
Classic and modern at the same time. You could use it in
Absolutely. I mean, I should have one of these because these are gorgeous. They're really beautiful. They really are. I mean, this.
We would need to get that in a 5X.
I know. We would. I was just thinking that too. I know. We'd need a pornographic level of X's, like at least at a minimum a triple XL, But
because firstly, that collar is about tighter than Lord knows what.
I know. Well, and I'll tell you, the other thing is, first of all, anything that comes from Europe or England is smaller than what we have here. Two, this is from back in the early '80s, and people were thinner. And the sizes were smaller. And unless if you get a replica, you could get a modern size. But if you were to get an authentic shirt from 40 years ago, you'd have to get there's probably not a size large enough, honestly, to fit me. But yeah, it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. It's so beautiful. I just think it's got the proper Adidas logo on it here, the trefoil. And it's got one of the better West Ham badges with the castle in the background. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm totally with you. I can't find the orange one that I saw today that I kind of suspect isn't real anyway. But yes, the rumor is that either the away kit, the third kit I think is going to be orange. The away kit's black, isn't it?
Lee, I messaged you the picture or the tweet that Tom keeps harassing everyone about.
Oh yeah, I know. He won't shut up. I know. Okay, fine. I'll my computer's a little slow, but I'll pull it up here.
Appease the lad.
Yeah, I know.
My favorite kit is the third kit from a few years ago, the all black.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
That was magnificent.
That is the most gorgeous thing. It's the only. So when I buy stuff, I tend to get rid of old stuff.
They ran out. That's why I don't have one. They ran out. Yeah.
That's the only one I'll keep. And I have one. My daughter had the exact same one when she was born. They made it because it was so easy to make a kid size that they made it really, really small.
I would say my favorite kit. I know I said it was the cream 94-95 third kit, but the 2001 Dr. Martin white with claret pinstripes.
That's a nice kit.
Take the cake.
Yeah. That's a nice kit. I agree. So
we've had some elite sponsorships.
So to Matherton says a lot of people. I'll read it to you, even though you could read it. A lot of people complaining about the new home kit, but excuse my poor Photoshop skills, which really you did a pretty good job there, Tom. To be honest, does it really look that bad? Yeah, it does. It does to me. I'm sorry.
And for me, even though I'm only going to wear the shirt, the full kit really determines it for me. Like if we wore the claret top with I'm a big white on white guy.
Yeah.
So white shorts with that.
I mean, I wouldn't mind it, except this weathered. What are we doing here with this weird sort of weathered look? It's just, it's too cliche 90s.
A big mistake.
Yeah, it's too cliche 90s. I like solid color blocks.
We just need to get Dagenham Motors back.
I would be for that. There's Dagenham Motors a proper sponsor. Or Dr. Martin's. Was
I
another
actually
one.
saw a Dagenham Motors Ford sticker today in Romford when I was walking around.
You know what?
Doc
actually like
Martens was a great sponsor as well.
I actually like the job serve kits as well. They were quite good.
Yes.
Yeah, they were good too. That was a good
Yeah.
era.
Even
Yeah.
Reebok Elite sponsorship.
Yeah, even the Alpari that we got, I always remember the Adidas kits that came along
Yes.
with Alpari trading as well.
I
And
have
the
one of my
sorbet
favorite.
wasn't bad. The sorbet wasn't bad either. I just didn't like the one kit where it was in a square. That one I did not rate.
Well, I really like that blue one we had a few years ago. That was
Oh, the kit you're wearing, Lee, I didn't even notice because I'm on my phone
oh,
and I'm
this
just
one.
like
I'll tell you
listening.
what. I dragged this one out of the closet right before I came on the show. I actually bought this one at the Bolin, I think anyway, because this was the kit they wore when I went over there with Ken. This is Scott Parker. It's got Scott Parker on the back.
What was that like
I
2009,
tweeted-
2010?
2010, 2009, 2010 should be 2010. Yeah.
My dream sponsorship, I want us to get New Balance so bad. That would really make my life.
Okay.
New Balance has
all right,
great
you know
kits.
what's a great provider of kits? The Lecoq Sportif, the French one, aside from having a hilarious name,
Okay.
is a brilliant kit provider. I have some Saint Etienne stuff from Lecoq Sportif, and it is high quality, super
Wow.
high quality. I really like it. It's very comfortable. It fits well. It looks good. Anyway, but they're about to go out of business anyway. So and Saint Etienne are about to go down. So it's all gonna crash. They'll never do a West Ham kit, but New Balance would be great. Yeah, the only shoes I could wear are New Balance shoes. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what Dagenham Motors was. Was it like
New
a
Balance
dealership?
993s. That's all I wear.
I only wear New Balance because my feet are too wide for other shoes, so I have to wear New Balance.
I
can't wear any
promise
other kind of
you,
shoe.
Lee, next time you have to get a new pair of shoes, get New Balance 993s. You will
Okay.
thank me for the rest of your life.
Okay,
It is like
I will do
walking
that.
on air.
I will do that. But now, was Dagenham Motors? What was it? Was it a dealership, or did they make cars?
Yeah, Dagenham Motors was a dealership. There was a dealership of Dagenham Motors, but there was also the Dagenham plant that was obviously the Ford plant that was in Dagenham, and a massive supplier to jobs in the East London, Essex area. That they used to make a huge amount of cars, transit vans. They assembled engines, millions of engines. It was one of the big. They were built. Most of Ford in terms of Europe were built in Germany and Essex, and so that was what Dagenham Motors was at that time.
Interesting. So I couldn't remember. I didn't know actually. You were talking about. I'll tell you what. One of my favorite kits is, and I actually am going to wear this one for my son's training tomorrow if I can get it to. If I can get it to open here the way I want it to, which I don't think it's going to do. Anyway, I'll show it to you. This is the one you were talking about. The one up here in the corner. This one. This Alpari one.
I have that one. It's
I
fucking
love
class.
this one. I love this one. I have Carlton
it in
Cole.
long sleeve. Oh, it's beautiful.
I have Carlton Cole in the back because I think it was his last season, and it's like
That screams Kevin Nolan to me.
Yeah, I love it. 2013. I couldn't remember the year. 2013-14. I love this one. I think this one's brilliant. This is somebody selling it on eBay or whatever, but it's a lot like the 81 League Cup final kit. If you remember that one.
So
Similar with the pinstripe.
And I'm not a big
Beautiful.
Adidas guy. I actually religiously hate Adidas. I just don't wear any Adidas. I think it's just shit.
I can't wear the shoes; they don't fit me, so it doesn't matter.
But the Adidas kits we've had have been really nice, and that's like the only Adidas I ever wear.
I'm the same way.
The third kit that year was very nice as well.
Yeah, it was.
Like black with a little bit of like blue and claret detail under the.
It was nice. Yeah,
another underrated kit.
I have that one
the
too.
Navy blue. The navy blue job store with the gold letterings and numbers. That was fucking
nice
amazing.
Yeah, that was a nice kit. And I'm with Christopher. Doc Martens was a great sponsor, and I have the old DeCanio shirt from 2001.
In my opinion, it's got to be like top 3 ever in the Premier ever.
Okay, Tom, this is how we say it in this country. It's a German brand, though. So if you're some sort of German expert, then go for it.
Adidas.
I know you say Adidas, which is probably how you really say it, but we say it Adidas. Over
Yeah,
here.
but they
And you know
also
what-
say Nike.
Oh, I hate that. That drives me crazy. You know what Adidas stands for? You know what it stands for, Lucas? You know what it stands for?
Adidas. La.
It stands for All Day I Dream About Sex.
Oh. Okay.
Or so we said in like 5th grade when I was playing like we had Adidas like tracksuits and stuff when I was a kid. We thought that was really good.
You
Really
know what?
funny.
I'm pretty sure Tom says aluminum very weird as well.
Well, of course,
Aluminium.
Aluminum.
Yes.
there's
Aluminium.
no need for that. It's an extra syllable that's just gets in the way of what you're trying to do. It gets between you and your fans. Yeah, this was nice. I like these too. I'm a huge fan of purple because I went to college, and I don't have one of these, but I did like them a lot. I like
And the third kit a couple years ago, the purple one, that was class too. That was clean. Very nice.
I had the dark like navy one, that kind of navy purple one.
Yes.
Yeah, I have that one. I have an
Beautiful.
Antonio. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Yeah.
That was nice. You know what?
Yeah.
Talking about the job serve ones, the ones I always remember. What I always remember of job serve was in the time when it was massively oversized shirts, weren't they? So
Yeah.
even though you were small,
Bring them back.
Well, the
It was like-
centenary. You remember the centenary shirts were gigantic. Had those big
Yes.
collars, and they were big
Loved
blouses.
it.
thing.
The
And
collars were
you'd see-
wide, like the
You'd see
Girthy
the dudes running,
kids.
and there's like 6 feet of fabric like trailing
Yes.
behind them, like you know what I mean, like a train, like a
And
wedding
Julian
dress.
Dix
You
would
always
just
knew
rip
when
his
his shirt got
collar like
fitted.
6 inches down.
Julian Dixon ripped
Insane.
his collar off. Yeah, no, that was a classic look.
That was elite. That was elite kit era.
And you had
Yeah.
to get those. I would get if I don't have one of those. If I didn't have one long sleeve, because they look better long sleeve with the because they just you're like some sort of wizard or something. You know what I mean? You got like a cape. It looks like a cape.
I hate the tight fitting kits. We need to bring back the baggy kits.
You ever try to wear? Is it who makes the really tight ones? I think it's Kappa makes the really tight ones. I used to have an Italian,
Nike makes them tight too now.
I used to have an Italian rugby shirt years ago that was Kappa, but I only wore it under my rugby kit that I wore for rugby. I didn't wear it out in public because it was too tight. But it was great to have underneath. It was like Under Armour, right before there was.
I
Under Armour.
don't know. I just feel like most kits nowadays are all like a little. Either it's the UK sizing or it's the brand. Because I'm not going to lie to you, I do feel a bit self-conscious when I know I have to order a 3X in kits.
I do too because I'm not that fat.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not. We're not. But I am. I'm European fat. But then you know what I do, Lucas? I go to New Hampshire and I'm skinny. Okay.
Yeah.
Or I go to if I go to Dallas,
Texas.
I was gonna say if I go to Dallas, I'm very, very skinny, very thin.
I'm petite in Texas.
Yeah,
Dude, you get south of the Mason-Dixon line and everything changes.
that's what I love. In the UK, I was like medium or large. I come to Texas, I'm a small.
Oh, you're tiny, tiny, tiny. I mean, in France, I was gigantic, and I was quite a bit lighter than I am now. I was in pretty good shape. I played rugby, and I, got a lot of exercise. But I could barely find clothes to fit me in France.
In France, I feel like it's the type of place they will literally ask you, "Why are you so fat?"
Right.
especially if you're American.
Because I never
So
smoked.
rude.
Because I never smoked. That's why they're all smokers. That's how they stay so thin. They smoke, And I
need to
never
get on
did,
that regimen.
Right. That's how you do it.
Black
So
coffee and cigarettes.
Yeah,
this
it's definitely cigarettes.
Yeah. Well, they eat whatever they want and they smoke whenever they want, but they live to be 135 years old, and they never get fat. And I don't know. Anyway, I sort of hate them. But this one, now I have the long sleeve, but I love this. It's one of my favorites of all time. That's the 2001 away kit. I mean, that to me, that's Paolo Di Canio running around in that thing.
I have the Dagnum Motors one that's like that with the thicker stripes. I can't wear it because it's a bit too tight. It's a double X too, which pisses me off. But
It's
I'm gonna have.
still not enough. I know.
Yeah,
I know the feeling.
we
It's still
can't
not
get it over the line.
It's still not enough. I had an old Sanatien
I'm gonna have to
shirt like
soak
that.
it and stretch it out on a chair or something and see if it works.
I had an old Sanatien shirt like that, which I could wear it. It's 20. Well, I still have it, but I don't wear it anymore. It's more than 20 years old. I could wear it, but once I got it on, the collar was so tight, I couldn't breathe. Like the rest of it wasn't that bad, but the collar was like, ah. So it's these pencil neck European guys. That's the problem. These little French guys.
Because we don't wrestle in high school. That's the difference.
Well, the English are a little different. Now these French guys, the rugby guys I played with, those were big, bulky dudes. You know what I mean? But they had the same problem I had. They couldn't wear anything either. You know.
Yeah, I used to have a big neck from boxing. I used to box, but I've got 3 slip discs in my neck, so that quickly lost a lot of size out of my neck.
That sounds painful. I really love kits, and if I didn't have a family and a house and a mortgage, I would spend a lot more money on football shirts.
And it's not only kits; it's literally all my clothes. Like I'm a big vintage T-shirt guy, and every single day I step out of the house, it takes me at least 40 minutes to get ready because I'm that indecisive of a person.
Christopher. I have the home iron, which I need to find it. It's in my.
I got the Iron Maiden one.
Shirts. Got the home iron. I never did buy the away one, but the away one is nice. But I got the home Iron Maiden one, which I like a lot.
They're still selling those at certain places. I really need to stop loafing around and purchase them.
I'm going to see Maiden this fall
because they're fucking badass.
I'm going to see Maiden this fall, and I'm definitely going to wear the West Ham Maiden shirt. No doubt about that.
I end up giving most of my shirts away to. I think I've probably given away about 20 or 30 shirts over the years to promote West Ham a little bit more, because it seems like if you give people a shirt, it seems like they're a little bit more committed to follow them,
I knew this guy. I had a really good friend who was very, very large, very, very, very large, and we went to. Do you remember the old FC UK stores? Do you still have those? Do you remember those? And the shirts would say they look like they said "fuck for England," but they said FC UK. He bought one that had this huge rooster on it that said "Magnificent Cock," but he never wore it in public because it was way too small for him. The guy weighed 400 pounds. I'm not joking. Wow. Very large man. Heavily overweight. But I remember we were in London on what we called it a not a gay tryst weekend, because it was just like 2 guys in London hanging out, going to bars and drinking. He had a bunch of hotel points and stuff, and we just went out to London for a weekend, and we bought shirts at the FC UK, and he came out of the hotel room bathroom with that thing on, and that chicken went from under one arm to under the other arm. That's the only time he ever put it on. He never put it on again. I should have asked him if I could have it, because he was going to wear it again. But the fact that it said "Magnificent Cock" made it even better. That's what made it. That's what made it a great shirt. As you should, Wally. As you should. Yes, you should definitely do that. I like vintage tees too. I just bought a WKRP in Cincinnati T-shirt. I bought the T-shirt that Dr. Johnny Fever used to wear on the show. One of the T-shirts. People always ask questions like, how would you spend your money if you won the lottery?
Oh my God, I would literally just buy kits and vintage T-shirts.
Me too. That's all I would do. That's it. I wouldn't pay off my house. I wouldn't I wouldn't do any of that stuff. I'd just be like, how much?
It's tough for me because I'm a huge believer in I cannot wear another Premier League club's kit. I never will, but there's been a few non-league and League One kits that would look so beautiful. I would definitely wear those. There was a vintage Coventry City one. It was purple and gold.
Oh yeah,
it was on classic football shirts. Oh yeah, it's fucking beautiful.
I have a Chelmsford City shirt that, if y'all remember, Tebow used to watch our show a lot. Trevor had been around a while. I don't know where he is now, but yes, Wally, it's my. You know what? It's my favorite of all time. My favorite show of all time. Anyway, Tebow used to be on our show. He'd watch our show a lot. He was always in the chat room. He's from Chelmsford, England. I live in Chelmsford, Mass. And so he sent me a Chelmsford City shirt, which is really nice, actually. I've actually worn it on here before. It's been a while. So I have a Chelmsford City. I have a couple of Saint Etienne's. Somebody gave me a New England Revolution shirt a long time ago that I could probably still find somewhere. I got a lot of rugby shirts, but yeah, I'm with you. I don't generally wear shirts other than West Ham or Saint Etienne, but yeah.
Dagenham and Redbridge had a very nice kit this season too. Nike, it looked beautiful. And I hate to admit it, but one of my favorite retro kits of all time, and it's not the colors, it's not the club.
You got a lot to answer for.
It's nice. I like Leeds. I do.
I like their
I'm not,
their old badge
I'm
with
not
the
gonna say I
flower on
support
it.
Leeds, but I wish Leeds well in
Their
all
their their
endeavors
colors their colors are nice and they're proper
because I
fans. It's a
fucking
proper
hate
club.
United.
Yeah, it's a proper
Um,
club, Leeds. Yeah.
which leads to what I was gonna say. I obviously hate United. I hate everything about them, but their first Premier League kit, the first season of the Premier League, where they had like the hockey jaw strings around the neck.
Oh, that was
I
nice.
love that.
Yeah, that was
It's
nice.
class.
Dude, hockey jerseys are a different. Now that's a whole different show we could do on hockey jerseys because
Or
I don't have
sorry,
very many. But sweaters. I know. I'm not Canadian. Canadians call them sweaters. That's what you're supposed to call them. Sweaters, hockey sweaters. I love hockey sweaters, but they're expensive. I don't have very many. I have like 4 or 5 because they're a lot of money, you know. But
my favorite Premier League kit that brings me back to a classic period of the Premier League. I think my two favorite ones, non-West Ham, would be the Blackburn Rovers white and blue that they won the Premier League with.
Yep, that was nice with the split down the middle.
Yes, and the Newcastle one with the Newcastle brown ale.
Oh, that was a great kit.
Both around the mid-90s. I mean, those two kits were spectacular.
I have when I lived in Europe, I drank so much Nuki Brown that I should have had one of those kits. Just I should have like rewards points. You know what I mean?
Another elite sponsorship that I hate, and of course, like Liverpool had to fucking don it. I love the Carlsberg sponsorship. It's so fucking. It looks so good on kits.
I like the Carlsberg sponsor too.
My wife has an old Newcastle kit that's just got the star in the center, and it's got the cityscape in the background.
Oh,
right?
that's
So
nice.
It's light blue and then dark blue in the star, and it's like the city. And like I found that, and I was like, yeah, I'm just buying it for it. She just needs that shirt.
What about the Arsenal one, the like red currant one? That was from the Thierry Henry era.
Oh, that wasn't bad. Although
with
it had
the gold O2 in the middle.
Yeah, the maroon and O2 gold. Oh, yeah, that is class.
The O2 was a bad sponsor, but the colors were nice, right? Because they were basically.
I went to Classic Football Shirts store in London, and let me tell you, I was in there for at least 2 hours.
Oh, I did never get me out of there. Okay, so Tom, do you mean this one? This one, York City?
Okay.
It's a little bit hard to see, but it's the cathedral. That's amazing.
That's a beauty.
Cool. Yeah, that is really cool. Now, Tom,
that is a corker.
I like that a lot. Let me see if I can get it. There we go. That 100 years with the cathedral.
That's nice.
That is a brilliant shirt. I like that a lot. It's a really nice shirt. Really, my wife might even like that because it's a cathedral, you know, and she's a theologian.
Oh wow.
York. That is. I with Tom. I'm with you. That's really nice. That's class. That's really nice. Yeah, I mean, there's some that have come out recently. There was what's the shirt that had like a map on it? It was like a Brazilian shirt that had a map in the background.
Oh! It was Atletico Mineiro.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Mineiro, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
I don't know how to spell that. Oh, wait.
It's Minero, I believe.
Oh yeah, here we go. Let me see if I can get this going. We're just gonna talk about kits for another like hour.
And you know what? Speaking of Leeds, the Tony Yeboah A6 kit was fucking class too.
Yes, that's true. Leeds had some great kits.
Tony Yeboah, top 5 favorite player of all time.
Here's the Atletico Mineiro kit. Now this is look, it's Coq Sportif. See, this is the Coq Sportif. This is what I'm telling you. The French manufacturer. Oh, look, it's moving around. Absolutely magnificent. That's their region there in the background. And Club Atletico Mineiro, I don't know what that says below it. It's something in Portuguese. But that's fantastic. And Coq Sportif has always done brilliant shirts, I think, anyway. There was another one that was like Magellan. It has Magellan on it. Maybe it's not Magellan. No. It has some sort of like naval captain on it. Have you guys seen this? It was from Argentina. I will never, ever be able to find this. But I'll see if I can find it. No, it's not coming up easily. Anyway, if I find it, I'll show it to you. But it's brilliant. It's so good.
Lee, I gotta DM you this picture of the Coventry one I was talking about. This one is
Okay.
such a beauty. This is the purple and gold one I was talking about.
I have to tell you that Coventry's kits are class to me because when I was a kid, okay. Hang on, so I'll get to it. When I was a kid, the team I played for
all this talk of Coventry,
was
I have fond
Columbia Blue. Yes.
Sorry, no, I have fond memories of Coventry because when we went back up, one of my earliest memories, when we went back up to the Premier League, I think it was 93, 94 season, and I actually went away to Coventry, and it was when Dale Gordon scored our first goal. We lost the first 2 games. We lost to Wimbledon. I think, actually talking about Leeds, we lost to Leeds as well. And then we ended up drawing 1-1 against Coventry, at Coventry. And Dale Gordon was our first Premier League goal scorer in history. So that was my nice memory of that. Yeah, that was the 93-94 season.
I always liked Coventry's kits because when I was a kid, the team I played for the longest period of time, we wore that color blue. It's Columbia blue, but it's similar, and looked a lot like Coventry, a little bit like Manchester City, I guess, but more like Coventry. So I always thought Coventry's home kits were really nice. Let's see here. Hang on. Yes, we're talking about kits right now. I hope you didn't want to talk about football because
classic football
whatever.
Classic football shirts just put up that pinstripe Dr. Martens kit I was telling you about with Sinclair on the back.
Oh, nice, dude. This is class too. That is nice. Look at that.
Yeah.
I do like that. I like
when
that
the badges were like that, when they have them just look like an absolute shield. Oh,
when the badges were the proper club badge that went back like 100 years. Do you know what I mean?
And the collar with the buttons just gets me every time.
Yes. Well,
so
and the badges, it's like our old badges. I mean, these were the badges that somebody came up with like in the 1890s. You know what I mean? And then this before they decided that you had to be able to see it clearly from television and so forth. They just kept the proper badge,
And a huge shout out to Man City. Their new kit this season is like exactly what I want the kits to look like going forward. Everything on the kit is centered instead of like sponsor on the left, sponsor on the right, or sponsor on the left, badge on the right, or vice versa, and then sponsor in the middle. It's all centered. It's all centered.
It can look good. It can look good. I mean, it can look good. I don't always love it, but it can look good. It depends on. I have an old Hearts shirt somewhere that has everything centered that looks pretty good.
Those are class too.
Because Kieran didn't like the last one. Wait a minute. This though, I got to tell you, this is some club in Argentina, and I think it's named after this guy. And this guy's some Argentine hero. Look at that. I mean, what is that? That's amazing. Jeez. I love that. Look at that.
Yeah.
So let me see. It says, I think his name is Admiral Brown, and I think the club's name is like Admiral Brown.
Admiral Guillermo Brown. William Brown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's who it is. Yes.
Yeah.
I've always loved that name, Guillermo.
Guillermo. I think he was one of the weirdest things. He was an Irish-born Argentinian admiral.
But that's what I love about it. This and the other Argentine club that I actually follow their results, no joke, is Douglas Haig. They have a club in Argentina called Douglas Haig, which is named after a World War I general who was from Scotland. And he was, I guess, part of one of the people who introduced football into Argentina. And so they have a club called Douglas Haig. I just love it because it's just a dude's name. It just, I mean, that's no way to name a club, but anyway.
It's like News. Well, one of the more
Newell's Old Boys.
Newell's Old Boys after Isaac Newell's.
Yeah, Newell's Old Boys, and they have, they have like Nueva Chicago. Where does that come from?
As long as the kits don't end up like the Mexican kits. I don't know if you've seen the Mexican kits. They have
their advertisements
12, 13 sponsors on. It's absolutely insane.
I actually like Mexican football, and I'll watch it late at night when it's on, like those games for Tijuana. And
you won't watch the MLS though. Very disappointed.
I will watch U.S. Open Cup. I don't really watch MLS.
Unreal.
No, it's true. I don't, and I shouldn't watch Mexican League either because they don't have relegation anymore. They got rid of it. They got rid
Yeah.
of Pro Rel, so I should boycott that as well. But you know what? Those games are kind of fun. They're on at like 10 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't know.
No,
Something to do.
I think the kit with I know there's teams like Leon and the Cholos of Tijuana,
Cholos, yep.
Santos of
Yep.
Santos Laguna. Those
Oh,
teams
Santos have always had nice kits.
yeah, but they
Yep.
must have at least 10 sponsors on their shirt, 10 different sponsors. You know?
Yeah.
They're heavily sponsored. They're like hockey sweaters in Europe, which every inch of them is covered in a logo.
Lee, I just
Yeah.
sent you the Ajax third kit. That's
Oh, where'd you send it on
Bob
Twitter?
Marley. I just
Yeah.
messaged it
Yeah.
to you.
Okay.
It's
Right,
class.
the Bob Marley inspired one.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
actually buy that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull this up. The picture's a little bit blurry, but that's okay. You get the idea. This is nice. That's a nice kit.
Ajax has
That's
some of
a
the
nice
best
kit right
retro
there.
kits in the game as well.
Ajax does some
Really.
brilliant kits, and that's the colors. That's fantastic. That's really
Ajax
good.
is retro kit.
Yeah, no, I mean, I
My mate has that Bob Marley kit with a Tadic on the back.
oh really? But I'm
Yeah.
not a big Ajax guy. Like when I lived in Holland, I lived in Rotterdam, so I'm not a big. But I mean, whatever. It doesn't really matter. That's a nice kit. That's beautiful.
Talking about
Really.
centered sponsors or you're being bothered with sponsors. I don't know if you remember the Ajax kit from would be around the Litmanen Kanu era, like 94, 95. If you put it, it would be the away kit, and it had, I think it was ABN AMRO down the side, but horror.
Yes,
like,
yes, yes,
vertical.
Oh my.
yes.
Yeah, if you got it there, show it. I don't know.
Let me see if I can find it.
It will be like Ajax away 94, 95, I think.
Yeah, I remember those. You know what? Here it is. Here it is right here. Let me see. Let me pull it up here.
But yeah, talking about Lucas loving everything centered. It's like the opposite for you, Lucas. You hate it, mate.
Well,
I
let's
think
see.
I know which. There's not. I think there's like no Ajax kit I don't like. They just do it. They just do it right every time.
Yeah, and I
Here's-
sent you the other one that they've done with all the football is life stuff.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah, like both those.
Yeah,
Bob
I
Marley
love
kits
that
were
kit.
Epic, and I had their red running top at one point. It was the first shirt I ever owned that had the thumb holes in it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is. I love the collar. I gotta say, I'm not a big collar on football shirts person, but that's a quality collar.
And the away, if you put in the 90, I think it was 94, 95 away kit of the Ajax. I think it was blue and red, because that was when I really followed Ajax, because that was when they had that before the team got broken down with Kluivert, with the De Boer brothers, Michael Reisiger, Danny Blint.
The Eredivisie in general has some of the best retro kits in the game. Even PSV, their kits were class.
Yeah.
Well, you guys got to get the old Excelsior Rotterdam kits that had the sponsor. Yeah, this one. I can't really. You know what? It's not really. It's not really opening up for me, but you get the idea. Yeah, I can't get it to. It's not expanding, but you get the idea.
Classy.
Tango Spring and buy it at Tango Sports for $39. That's a pretty good deal.
That is a very good deal.
Not bad. It's not bad at all.
If you pay for shipping though, it's $72.50.
That's the West Ham Mega Store. If you buy it from the West Ham Mega
Now
Store,
it's $20 flat rate.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I
paid $20.
I haven't ordered from there for a while.
They used to have an international free day. So I would get an email and it was like today only. And like, I have money for that day, because it was once a year and you didn't know when it was coming, but it was like Christmas. And now it's like buying 2 shirts.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know. I'll tell you, you guys know what I did. You know what I did? I'll just bring this back around a little bit. So when we started in Europa League, at what was it like in the fall, I usually wait until the end of the season to buy West Ham shirts when they're on sale and they're cheap. But in this case, I wanted a Europa League shirt. So I bought a Europa League shirt, badges, everything. Guess whose name I got on the back? Guess. Just I'll give you one guess. Whose name I got on the back of my Europa League shirt?
Brawl.
Oh no, my friend. Aaron M.F. Cresswell. That's who I got on the back of my Europa League shirt.
Irony.
Bless your heart.
The definition of irony.
No
I'm
doubt.
gonna wear it anyway because I'm wearing my Arnautovic shirt. Nobody knows here what those things are. They don't care. I'll wear it. I like it. Frankly, it's a nice shirt. I got it without the sponsor.
There's American
It
footy
looks.
fans that
It
don't
looks.
even know what a West Ham is.
That's what
So,
I'm saying. It doesn't really matter.
The,
I,
the, the day
this
that we
this is
signed
cool
Tevez,
too.
the day that we signed Tevez and Mascherano, I went out that day. I was in London working at the time. I went out that day and bought the home kit with Tevez 32 and the away kit with Mascherano 16 on the back. That day, I was so
There
excited.
you go. Well, little did you know Mascherano would never play because the great Hayden Mullins would keep him out of the team.
One of life's big.
but the Tevez. No, you're not going to win, Tuam. The Tevez one is definitely class, and I know that's Tom's favorite player, and I'm not joking about that. It really is Tom's favorite player. I'm not making that up. All right, so it's good. We did almost an hour on kits. I could do many hours more, but other people. I'm not slandering. I said those have been good things. Good things. All good things. It was a little hard to. I didn't actually see the penalties between Rangers and.
they were shit.
Yeah, I was out trying to fix my pool pump.
No Bryce Samba, no Nottingham Sheffield penalties, which were fucking fantastic.
But I had the only thing I'll say about the final is there's two things. First of all, Frankfurt did go unbeaten through the whole competition, and that's pretty impressive. I mean, it is. Secondly, a lot of people said we would have won the final. We should have been in the final. You know what? I disagree. I mean, first of all, a final is a weird thing. You don't know how your team's going to play. Secondly, we had a chance. We had Frankfurt twice. We lost twice. That's just the way it goes. I mean, I know Cresswell cost us the second game, but he didn't cost us the first one. We conceded within 1 minute in our home leg. You can't do that and hope to advance in Europe. That's insane. So all of the whining I saw today about how, we should have been in it. We shouldn't have been in it, okay? Whatever could have happened did. We didn't go. That's the way it goes. It was still a fantastic run, a brilliant run. And even though I think their fans are a bunch of thugs, or some percentage of their fans is a bunch of thugs, I say congratulations to Eintracht because obviously they were the best team in the competition. They played well all the way through, and they deserve to win. Frankly, they deserve to win. And they gambled and won. They came in 11th in the Bundesliga. They decided early on they were not going to try to get back into the European positions in the league. They were going to put everything in the Europa League, and they did. Yeah. And they won. It paid off for them. But it only pays off for one club. Didn't pay off for Rangers. Didn't pay off for us. So, but it worked for them. I don't think they'll get far in Champions League, quite frankly, but that's not the point. I say, listen, good for them. Congratulations to them. Let's move on to Sunday. Big match on Sunday. We need something of a miracle to happen. We need to beat Brighton.
I wouldn't go miracle.
The miracle is not Manchester United not winning. That's not the miracle. The miracle is we need to beat Brighton. And we've never done that as a Premier League club ever. Not once.
Again, weirdly optimistic.
Well, I mean, it's strange to me. I'm sorry, I'm really stuffy here, guys, so I apologize. It's strange to me that I actually think there's a real possibility that we nick 6th place on Sunday. I really do. I think.
See, now we're going to lose because you said that.
Well, I said a possibility.
You're usually not that optimistic. So now I have to bet against us.
I'm not predicting it. I wouldn't go that far. I'm just saying that Manchester United haven't played in a couple of weeks. I don't think their players care that much about Europa League or Conference League. I think that because they're not in Champions League, they're going to be disappointed. That's the level where they expect to be. They've been falling apart here toward the end of the season. Palace have a good manager. They don't have a lot to play for, except they could finish top 10 if they win on Sunday. They're at home. I know they have to play in midweek, but there's only 2 more games left. I think it's a possibility. Now, the question is, can we beat Brighton? Why have we never beaten Brighton as part of the Premier League? And when they've beaten us, why have we never beaten Brighton? And what do we do on Sunday to break them down? Anybody who wants to jump in, please go for it.
I think our problem when we possess the ball is that we don't understand how to possess when somebody's getting back. We slow it down. We don't go at the backs. We don't attack them. We literally hold the ball, pass around like we're Man City, and we're not.
Yeah.
So, like, if we were quick, if we were really trying to get, because once you're down into the final third, you shouldn't be trying to play the ball out to the wings. I mean, once you're in the final third, that's a waste of time because you're not going to get
Got
behind
to be more direct.
Yep.
So we have to be quick and we have to drive at players with pace, not just go back to the Declan Rice, touch the ball 72 times and move the ball sideways, 73 of those.
Yeah, I mean, Brighton, teams like Brighton, Burnley are difficult.
Oh, you have
for
your
us.
bear.
Oh, here she comes. Here she comes.
So this is her West Ham bear. They used to play I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles, but it broke. So
my boys had those too. Hi, Embry.
Oh,
Hi.
what a good girl.
Hi, baby girl. Hi,
Yeah,
baby
this is
girl.
going to be your new bear for the weekend since we're going to Vegas.
There you go. There you go. All right. It's good to see her. It's good to see her.
Yeah.
Glad you had her on. The Brighton, Burnley, they're tough for us, as we've talked about many times, because they counter, we counter. It's a Mexican standoff, right?
Yeah.
It's what do? You attack them. They want you to attack them. So, I mean, we know Moyes is probably going to set up the way he always sets up, play the way he always plays. But how do we break that down? How do we break through? I mean, you were talking about it, Scott. Keep going if you want to keep going.
It's about playing with pace. It's about being direct. It's not about holding the ball and holding 70% possession, right? Like that doesn't do us any good. We're not that team. We can come out of the back quick when they attack, but if we're possessing, we still have to be looking for that incisive ball and not just waiting around. When I train teams, like we trained for that type of play, right? Like, all right, this team's going to pack it back. You have 3 minutes to score on a shortened field, right? And we were always training quick touches. Find your motions, find your guys. You know where the runs are. At this point, everybody knows where everybody's run is going to be. And I don't feel like we're using that. I feel like we wait to see what the run will be. And granted, Antonio will run everywhere he wants. And, it'll be a horror show sometimes. But
they're going
we have to be making runs and see those runs and know they're coming, play in behind and get around.
They're going to try to, to put it in hockey terms, they're going to try to trap us at center ice, though. You know what I mean? I mean, we're not going to get those big through balls, those big balls over the top that we get when we counter against the bigger clubs. It's just not going to, like what we had with Fornals and Bowen on Sunday, the first goal. We're not going to get that. It's not going to happen.
I thought we were actually showing really well when we were playing the long ball across on one touch.
Yeah, I did too.
When you play the ball directly, right? It's so much quicker than going, all right, we're going to go to the backs. Now we're going to go to the center, right? And we're going to let Declan touch it 5 times. And then we're going to pass
it
to
Antonio,
makes a world of a difference. Back, and he's going to play it back to Declan. And then we're going to go outside, right? When we're playing that one long ball in behind, we're dangerous.
That's what I want to see.
It makes a world of a difference when you can make the pass in one touch rather than
correct.
One of the things that sorry, Lucas.
There you go. Like the Fornals assist for Bowen's first goal. That was absolutely fucking world class. If Kevin De Bruyne did that, people would be talking about it for months.
Absolutely, no question about it. Agreed.
And it's like Scott was saying, like I agree. I think, and you've heard me say this a million times. I think we're too creative and not adventurous. I know that's not really like a fine. It's a very fine line quote, but like it's if you get it, you get it. If you don't, whatever. Yeah. Like being creative, that's what Man City do. They can be creative because they pass the ball a bunch and they're absolute quality at it. And when I say like to be adventurous, I want us to have a shot from outside the box. Like if Declan Rice has a shot, I want him to shoot. I don't want him to pass it sideways to Ben Rama or Antonio. If he has a shot, fucking shoot.
Yeah. I mean, put it on net. We score a lot of our goals from outside the box. Anyway.
Pucks on net.
Set pieces. Pucks on net. I know. Lucas, our hockey days for this season are over for both of us. So Anyway, got to move on.
Don't
but
remind me, please.
I know. I don't want to think about it either. Go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
No, I want to throw the cat among the pigeons with something that I would do against Brighton. I mean, we've drawn the last 6 games against them, and
Yes.
for me, I like Brighton. I mean, I like him under. I think they're good under Potter. I think I like Chris Houghton
He
as
needs
well.
to be England manager.
Chris Houghton that was there before. I thought he was not the best manager, but he seemed like a nice guy. What I like about Brighton, or what I think is they're very strong on their left-hand side. They've got that wonderful left fullback with Cucurella, because Brighton nowadays, they kind of play between a 3-4-3 or the 4-2-3-1. I mean, and like you say, they play a very low block when they defend. But they've got Cucurella on the left side of defense. Yeah. They've got Biswama that always covers on the left side of midfield. He's always on the left side. And Trossard as well, that is on the left side. So, for example, for me, their left-hand side is very strong compared to their right-hand side, where obviously they've got, less strength for me. I might switch it up and put Bowen, because for us, we know that we're missing that left-sided midfielder, because the right-hand side with Bowen is done. The central position, whether it's Benrahma or Lanzini, the left-hand side, we're getting Fornals in, we're getting Benrahma occasionally. At the worst situation, put in Masuaku. I would put Bowen on the left-hand side, and I would put Ben Johnson at left-back to get up and down like he can, just to just to get it out there, because for me, Brighton know how to play us. They know how to get the points against us. They've held us up for a lot of games, like you say. We've not beaten them in Premier League, so that's what I'd do. I'd keep the rest of the team the same. I'd keep Benrahma behind Antonio. I'd put Fornals on the right hand side, just for his energy to occupy Cucurella, to occupy Trossard, that we need to defend well against Trossard. Bowen on the left, ask him to cut inside and shoot, because he's on form, like we saw with Man City, and get Ben Johnson on left back to get up and down. That will be my putting it out there, something different, just because it's the last game of the season.
Interesting. Now, let me ask you this, though, Matt. I mean, Soufal, obviously, Cresswell has had his problems of late, but he was, fine, I guess, against Manchester City. Soufal had a bit of a nightmare, as we know.
Yeah.
And he, do you put him back out there at right back again? I mean,
I think he does. I think he's done enough to deserve the chance. I'm a fullback. I still play fullback. I play right back or left back if I need to. That was a poor decision. I think he really wasn't sure what to do there, and for me, he panicked.
Yeah, I think
that was a panic decision there, because
it made no sense. It made no sense.
Yeah, it made no sense. And I think he was I think it's just one of those ones where you get worried that someone's on your back, like with Fornals for the first goal against Lyon, where he got caught, first goal against Frankfurt, so where he got caught completely cold. So I think that's what he thought, that maybe someone was on his blind side and he hadn't checked his shoulder. That's why he did that. But for me, I think he deserves enough. And like someone just put in the chat, the thing about Cresswell is he doesn't get up and down enough. And like they put, he takes 2 or 3 touches. And that's it. Yeah. So I think maybe giving that sprite back of Johnson, that bit of burst of energy, and I think that Soufal does deserve it. But that's what I would do, just to give us something different.
You can compare Cresswell's movement exactly to a left back who I hate morally, is Marcus Alonso. Marcus Alonso does not get up and down the pitch very well, but when you get him in position to cross the ball, anything can happen, because they both have wands of a left foot.
Right. Cresswell has never killed anybody as far as we know. So
yes.
I know that's what you were saying.
I look at this more from like sports psychology view with this match. So the way I look at it is, you got 2 teams that obviously they're playing for something, and if foundationally everyone's playing for something, but we've already secured European competition. Brighton really have nothing to lose. So you got 2 teams going against each other that have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I put our Man City momentum into that mix, and I think we do have the slight edge to play more freely, and
Yeah.
that's where I see that's where my optimism comes in. Like obviously, Brighton is still going to be very tough,
Right.
but I just feel like if we can score the first goal, just
Always critical.
from
Always
a
critical.
psychosis standpoint, I
Yeah.
don't feel like Brighton is going to have that like kick up the ass to want to get back in the match. It's just kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, they scored. We're just going to keep playing and we'll see what happens. I don't think they'll have that sense of urgency because
No.
again, they have
It
nothing
is
to play for.
it is a dead rubber game for them, right? I mean, they're not in any position to do. I mean, they're not. It's not. They're not playing for anything, really, are
But
they?
again, no, I don't expect anyone to see it from the way I did just now because it's not very. What's the word? I don't want to say original, but like it's a unique way of me looking at it because like we can talk about tactics all we want, but it's fucking Brighton. We never beat them,
We never beat
no
them.
matter what
That's
we
why we need to
do.
do something different. That's why.
Yeah,
And
I agree
and
with that.
and as long as Neil Maupay doesn't play, because that guy is a real shit house of a player, you know.
Yeah, I know. He killed us last time too.
Yeah,
He equalized last time when I thought we were going to finally beat him. Yeah.
and he's just one of those guys. He always in that 2-2 as well, where he got the first goal there. I mean, that guy's got a habit of scoring against us, you know. And I just think that if he plays, I mean, he's just one of those niggly players. It's just a little bit, you know. We need to stop Trossard. Definitely, we need to stop Trossard because a lot of their play comes from them. And I think if we can do that, and Maupay doesn't play, I think we've got a chance. But like you say, if we come out with the same old West Ham, I think we can notch it up for a draw.
Yeah, and like I was saying, there's just like we have. I don't want to say we have all the momentum in the world, but like I said, you got a rubber match basically. We just drew City, so we got to use that momentum to our advantage. And it's two teams that have nothing to play for, but I think we have the necessary momentum
We
to
have a
get a
lot more to play
result.
for than they do, Lucas. They
Oh,
really
yes.
have nothing to play for. We still have. I mean, listen, we all know the games all happen at
Yeah,
the same
but
time.
we have that comfort in the back of our head at least that no matter what happens, we are playing European football next season. Obviously,
true.
we want to play in Europa League,
Right.
but
right,
at the end of the
right.
day, it is a bit dead rubber, and because
It
of
won't be
our
a
result against
catastrophe.
City, because of our result against City, I think that pushes us over the edge of expecting mediocrity. You know what I mean? I think there is definitely reason to be optimistic for finally breaking the curse.
Well, here's a thought from Vernon. You know, and Wally. I'm sure if Wally's still watching, he's behind this all the way. We have not lost all season with Fredericks playing. What do you think? No Fredericks for you now?
Playing right back. We
No.
lost when he played left back.
Do not like.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, he played left back against Arsenal. We lost.
Oh, did he? Okay, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, Lucas. You're right. Anyway, all right, go ahead. No.
No, solid championship player. Do not like Fredericks. Sure, he's a lovely guy. He comes across as a nice guy.
Yeah, he does.
You know, but just no. I mean, I don't
Strictly
think
business.
Yeah. I think, you know, everything aside, I think he's just one of those guys that's hung around because of the level that we've been at previous to these, 2 years, rather than excelling, and just done enough in certain moments to keep his head above water. But if we're going to take it on to the next level, then I mean, he can't compare to Sufal or to Johnson or to whoever else we need to bring in as a left back. Talking about this one, I mentioned him last time, Cucurella, the left back of Brighton. Watch him, brilliant. He looks like a kind of Gunduzi with a long hair. Gunduzi, who was at Arsenal, and he won Player of the Year and Players Player of the Year, I think it was. And he's a really solid. I mean, there's talk of him going this summer for 30 million to maybe Man City.
Here for Locomotive FC.
Oh, look out!
So definitely have a look at him.
Yeah, there's another thing to think about too. Is who are we going to see potentially for the last time in a West Ham shirt outside of Mark Noble? We know about that.
Yarmolenko, Fredericks.
Fredericks, right? Well, we won't see. Well, we've never seen Krall in a West Ham shirt, so that doesn't really. Vlasic, what do you guys think about Vlasic?
Bad decision.
Don't think he'll see the pitch on Sunday, but I'm just curious. Do you sell him on? Do you keep him? Is he a Fornals from a few years ago when everybody was saying he's not good enough? Or
I'll start off with that just because I don't think I'll be the longest, but I'll definitely be the most passionate about it, as he is a Balkan brother of
That's
mine.
true. He's a what is your
So
Croatian,
someone,
right?
yeah, someone made a good point the other day, and it really resonates. So like, we bought him. Everyone keeps saying 25, 33, 32 million pounds. That just doesn't matter to me. It doesn't make sense overall to buy him for that and then sell him. Yeah, but it makes no sense to buy him for that and then sell him for. Let's be realistic. If we try to sell him, we're not getting anywhere near that back. We're going to take more than a 50% loss,
Of course,
which doesn't seem right. But we've done that before many times with Allaire.
We did it with
Anderson,
Allaire.
Payet.
Yep.
So like I could see that happening.
Yeah.
But I will never change my stance that I genuinely believe he just hasn't really had enough game time for me to see what he's about. And we've had so many players that have not performed well in their first season, and look what they've done now. Fornals, Bowen, Benrahma to an extent.
Absolutely,
like,
that's how I feel too.
Vlasic has not been given, in my opinion, enough minutes, nor played in his favorite position. And that's just me. I know a lot of people differ from that, but like you just cannot. After seeing what Bowen did this season, after not having a good first season with us, Fornals the same way, and like I said, to an extent with Benrahma, I mean, it just doesn't make sense to cut him off like now. And we need the depth. We're already losing five.
Well,
we're already losing five.
This is the point that I think
we're
is
losing
really good.
Five players. Yeah. We're losing 5 players. And the West Ham way is you lose 5, we replace them with 3. Exactly. We might as well keep the guy. And he's still only 23 years old.
Yeah.
He's a Croatian international.
I mean, I go back to I think we'll talk about Benrahma if you want to in a few minutes. A lot of people think the jury is still out on him. I think Benrahma is a good player. He might be a great player, but I think he stays with West Ham. But Fornals is the one I always come back to because a lot of people wanted him out after his first season. He was a lot like Vlasic is now. He didn't get a lot of playing time. When he did, he looked a little nervous.
And that's a huge problem again too. Fornals, Benrahma, Vlasic all played out of position.
Exactly. And Fornals has gone on to be, I mean, he's a little inconsistent, but he's generally one of our better players. Yeah. Fantastic assist on Sunday, right? Brilliant
occasionally sloppy, but great.
But I mean, he's of Premier League standard, right? Fornals. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's not. You don't look at Fornals and say he's not good enough. You know, he's good enough. And I think Vlasic can get there. I just don't know anything about him. I mean,
and I genuinely believe he wants to be here, which is a good sign.
Well, normally, that's the thing.
Normally players will pack.
He says he wants to. Season. He says he wants to. Yeah. What do you think, Matt? Not a Vlasic fan?
Yes. Yeah, I am definitely.
Okay.
I think I agree 100%. I was commenting on Twitter. For me, the thing is, I mean, ever since I can remember, and we've had a couple of moments that we've had a couple of years that we've had a bulked out squad. You know, for example, when Golden Sullivan buying 4 shit strikers in one transfer window, none of them scored.
When Sullivan just showed up with, who did he show up with? And it was Allardyce was manager, and he just showed up with who was it? And he was like, "Here you go, Sam. Here's a striker for you." And Allardyce was like,
"And I will say this though. I want to put this in real quick. I do agree with people that he has not lived up to his transfer fee. But 1, that's not his fault, and 2, I do agree he has not lived up to 25 to 32 million pounds.
Right. But we also haven't paid it. We also haven't paid it because he came from Russia. So, I mean, in a way, it's a moot point.
It's kind of free now, right?
Well, I mean, we may owe it eventually to who is it? Spartak, I think he came from, Moscow. But we don't know it right now. So, as far as David Sullivan's concerned, you know what I mean? He doesn't know anything.
I just think that after years of complaining about squad depth, not enough players. What would happen if Rice get injured? What will happen if Antonio gets injured? What would happen? Blah, blah, blah. So looking at the injuries, for example, no one would have thought we'd have gone through the freak injuries that we went through from Ogbonna to Zuma to Diop, going through that those kind of disasters.
It was brutal.
We're finally in a competition, that we want to be in. Europa League, maybe going to the Conference League, which to me is the same, to be honest, because it's the same quality of teams that are in it.
You have Feyenoord and Roma in the final. That's a big final. That's
Exactly,
a big final.
It's massive. Yeah. So
bigger than the Europa final, arguably.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a great final.
No offense to Rangers fans, but I mean, is Roma and Feyenoord have won the European Cup in the past. So, anyway,
and to be honest, if we want to keep progressing in our national cups, in the future as well, if we want to have more rotation there, I mean, we need squad players. If we sell him, whatever we paid for him, we're going to lose a lot of money on him. He's not going to be on massive
And honestly,
wages.
in the grand scheme of things, what the fuck is 10, 15 million pounds going to do for us?
And
not going to help.
Realistically, the kid's young. He's got potential. He's another pair of legs. And as long as we, for example, I definitely think we'll see different performances from guys like Vlasic and Benrahma if we sort out the left midfield problem.
I agree.
If we get in
and
one
left back too, right?
Yes.
The left side problem. Because if we get in, Keane Lewis Potter or someone on the left-hand side that is a natural left-hand winger attacking midfielder in the same form as Bowen, and then we're allowed to rotate between Vlasic, Benrahma behind Antonio or another striker, it's going to change our team completely because it's very awkward. That left midfield side position is very awkward for Benrahma, very awkward for Fornals, very awkward for Vlasic when it comes on. These guys want to be in the middle. They want to be creative, and you're much more restricted on a wing,
And they need time to adjust.
Of course. So keep Vlasic 100%, but with the condition that we go out and we fix that left-handed side position.
Well, I would say, I mean, the other thing is, Matt, and I think you were getting to this as well. We need a plan B. Every match is the same starting 11. Everybody knows when our players are healthy who the starting 11 will be, how they'll line up. We know the tactics. We know the formation. Everybody knows. So, as we say in the U.S., they have the film on us, right? They have they know what we're going to do. Now, sometimes it works anyway because we do have a quality group of players. We have Declan Rice. We have Jared Bowen. But many times I feel this season, we've had draws when we could have won. We've had losses when we could have drawn because it's just so predictable. And, you get to certainly by the time we didn't buy anybody in January, it was very clear anybody who follows the Premier League in even a sort of detached way could name West Ham starting 11 based on our injury list.
Yeah, well, it was like Bielsa that got in trouble at Leeds for always announcing his team, before the game. But we almost do that, in conscious without really doing it, because everybody knows, like you say.
Yeah.
If there's no injuries, there's going to be one change in the front three behind Antonio. That's the only place where we're going to see it.
And Vernon makes a good point. And I love Moyes, and I'm a big supporter of Moyes, but he does have his faults. And one of his faults is he doesn't trust a broad group of players. He only trusts
in Everton.
Exactly. He only trusts a certain group of players, and he doesn't trust younger players. And he only trusts the players he knows. He knows he can trust, but it means that we become predictable, and it means that it means a lot of things. It leads to a lot of problems. Now he's done fantastically well for us, in my opinion. However, one of his faults is, as you were just saying, it's predictable. It's all every Sunday morning. You go on Twitter an hour before the game, there's no reaction to the starting 11 unless somebody's injured. Because
how are you supposed to get molded into a team or fit in when you get brought in on the very last day of the transfer window and you've been here for how many months? When did the summer transfer window end? Like August?
It ends end of August, I think. Isn't that right? End of August.
So he's been here for 6 months. He's played a few cup games, one or two started, maybe 1-2 Premier League matches. I mean, I just don't see the logic in giving up on a player after 6 months.
I mean, not unless he's objectively
If he costs £1 million, £5 million, 50, 60,
Yeah.
like you cannot judge a player off 6 months.
By the way, I read about this too, and apparently the rumor was false. Not
He's
saying we
still
won't
coming.
sign Keane Lewis Potter, but it was just a rumor that the person who started the rumor dispelled it and said I never meant to start a
Yeah.
rumor. So I wouldn't read anything into that at all. I don't think anything has happened there. So I wouldn't. I don't think there's anything there at all. Hey, thanks for coming on. It's good to see you, Black Country. It's good to have you here. No, I listen. I'm with you. I mean, there are some players you look at. Carlos Sanchez. Was his name Carlos? What was his name? What was his
Carlos
first name?
Sanchez, yeah.
Yeah, Carlos Sanchez. Okay, I was thinking. See, I've forgotten him already. Carlos Sanchez was a disaster. You know what I mean? He was terrible, right? Guys like Benny McCarthy, if you go back far enough, or Savio, you can look at those guys and say, like, you know what, these guys are not Premier League quality. Roberto, or Harvard Nortvite, or any number of.
That's Charlie Walsh's favorite player.
But I
besides Jordan Hugo, of course.
But I do not. This is good news. I haven't even looked at the score. That's good news, Frankie. I do not put Vlasic in that category at all. I think of him as more like a Benrahma.
I think he's shown some bright spells personally.
Well, he hasn't been a disaster. Have you looked at him and said he's clearly not Premier League quality? Because with those guys, I think that's what you looked at and said. I don't see that with Vlasic. I don't see that with him.
But then again, like, I also agree on the standpoint where, like, he really hasn't done much to, like, earn starts or more minutes, which I think is fair, and that's literally coming from me, the biased Balkan.
Can I throw something out there that maybe has nothing to do with it, but I want to do it anyway?
Yeah, yes. Of course.
I think Vlasic will help when Krul leaves. Now, why am I saying this? Maybe completely random. I watch the training photos. You see, for example, if you're a French player and you come into the club, you get absorbed in quickly, like with Zuma, because you've got Masuaku, you've got Diop, you've got all of these French players, and they've got a good clique, they've got a good group.
Francophones, anyway, Francophones.
If you're coming in, for example, English, well, you've got your English group, there. If you're coming in as let's say Eastern European, you see that you can see that Sufal, Suchek, Krul, Fabianski often are together. And if you look in the training photos, you often see that Vlasic is with Krul, but not really joining together. I often see him like, when you go to a new school, you go from elementary to junior high, and then you're like, oh yeah, that guy's from my old
cling
school.
on to like one person.
Cling on to that one person,
So you cling on to that one person. So I get the idea, and I've got some, I've had some contacts in the club over the years, and I'll give you an example. Pablo Barrera, the Mexican guy that went there.
I liked him. I thought he was going to be better than he was.
My contact that I have in the club told me he didn't make friends with anyone, didn't want to learn the language, completely. That's why he didn't. And I'm not saying Vlasic is like that, but what I'm saying is that I think Vlasic needs to join into the club, into that, because if you see the training photos and you see the videos, there's that camaraderie that is amazing.
He needs to settle.
And I think he's just outside that bubble. And I think if Krul leaves, I think he will transition into that bubble.
It'll force him to open up.
Exactly.
Basically.
And I think is that confidence inside the group, I think that confidence will really help him, because it's obvious the kid's got talent. If you look at the way he holds the ball,
Declan Rice literally said in public that he is one of the strongest players he's seen, has one of the best strikes of the ball he's seen in training.
The way he holds the ball up under pressure is amazing. I really like that about him. And not only with his back to the ball, with his front to the defender, he can hold the ball up really well.
And this is my big thing with him too. He's so, in my opinion, of course, I don't want to sound biased, but I truly believe this. Like, he makes the right decision and the right pass every time. He's super unselfish. Like, that's what I like personally. I think we could use more of that in our team. Like, make the correct pass.
I think all the things we're saying to me indicate that we have not seen enough from him to say he's not good enough. and we put an investment into him. And this is a good question that Vernon asks. I mean, you never know what's going on behind the scenes. Listen, I always figure Sullivan, he controls the purse strings.
And
He
I do
controls
agree with Lasich was a panic buy.
He was
I
a
will
panic
agree on
buy.
that.
No, he absolutely was a panic buy because we thought we were going to get Lingard, and we
And
didn't.
he wasn't a signing. I also agree with that.
Yeah, but
In my
I mean,
opinion.
we put some investment into him. I don't see any reason to take a huge loss on this guy. He's not Allaire. Allaire is a great striker.
And we need the depth.
Right, and we need the depth. Allaire is a great striker. He was not great for us. He did not want to play for us. He didn't like Moyes, didn't like the system, didn't like West Ham. Okay, that's all there is to it. People still complain about how Allaire went and scored 35 goals for Ajax. I don't care. He was never going to do that for West Ham, ever. Vlasic, I don't see that in him. It's not what I see in him. I just see a lack of opportunity. He says he wants to stay and fight for his place in the team. He's struggling to get back into the Croatian team because he hasn't played all season. But he says, no, I want to stay and fight for my place at West Ham. So I think that's a positive. I like hearing that. I like hearing players when they say, I want to play for West Ham. We never used to have that. It was a very rare thing to hear. Only Mark Noble ever said that for 18 years. And now other players are saying it, which is nice. You are being laid off after 14 years. Darren, I'm sorry to hear this, man. I'm so sorry to hear this. This is terrible. Awful news. I'm really sorry. Listen, best of luck with your interview. I hope it goes well. Man, I hope it goes well. That's terrible. Yeah. Glad you're on with us, though. Sorry,
and I think Vlasic needs to play. Yeah. Vlasic needs to play. That is essential for him for his international career.
I actually think Epic Hashtime is right about this. I think he could play in the middle. I think he could play.
Without doubt.
That's his natural position. He plays in the
10. He's a 10. Yeah, that's where he should play. And I'm with you. It's so funny because I keep reading. Everybody, and I know Twitter is a little tiny sliver of our West Ham fan base. It doesn't really represent, that many people. But I keep reading how all these people, at the same time, they want all these players gone from the club. Then they say we have such a small squad, we can't compete. And I'm like, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways.
That's why I'm saying, like, we need to keep him, and even certain players like Ryan Fredericks. I know Matt doesn't like Ryan Fredericks, but we're losing we could lose up to 5 to 6 players, and we all know the way our transfer strategy goes. You lose 5, we replace them with 3.
Right,
we
Fredericks
still need
do a job in conference league. If we end up in conference league,
I'd keep Fredericks. I'd keep Fredericks a shove. I mean, if you guarantee me that
there's been rumors that he's willing to take a wage cut, which honestly, say he's getting paid like 50, 60 a week. If he dropped down to like 45, 40, I think I would not mind that in the slightest.
It's like Fabian Balbuena. Why did we ever get rid of Fabian Balbuena? We could have used him this season. Would have been great for us this season.
Yes.
I mean,
love the general.
We'd probably be comfortably in Europa League if we had Fabian Balbuena, in my opinion.
And he added to the nationality list, the long list, Paraguayan.
Well, he was just a solid center back. We knew what he could do. He was on low wages.
No nonsense.
There was no reason to get rid of him. That's crazy. It didn't bring in any money. What was the point? You know.
No, and
we can't just dump guys. We're not. We're not Manchester City. We're not Chelsea. We don't have. We need a bigger squad. The only way you get a bigger squad is you got to keep some of the guys you have. Now Yarmolenko's on wages that are too high. He's too old. He needs to go. I appreciate what he's done for us, by the way. He scored some huge goals for us. All right, appreciate what he's done for us, but he needs to go. There are guys who need to go, but you can't just send them all off. Yeah, I know he did, and I you know what? I wish we'd have kept him anyway, Frankie. I know what you're saying, but I wish we'd kept him anyway. No, I didn't prefer him over Dawson. I'm just saying if we'd have had him when we had Dawson and Zuma out and Diop out all at the same time, we were wondering, did you put Declan Rice at center back? We had that crisis. It would have been great to have him, So he wanted to leave, but then he went to Russia.
I'm always worried about the depth because we already know Moyes likes a small squad, and we could lose 5 players due to retire.
I don't think he likes
retiring.
I
contracts out.
I'll bet he would have a bigger squad if he could. Is I think. Don't you? I mean,
the scary thing is, like I've always said, whenever you hear him in interviews talking about Antonio, I always get the impression that he's happy with only having Antonio, and he's like takes pride that it's his work, like he did with Arnautovic.
Yeah,
You know what
I know. I know.
And that's the thing, you know.
I don't like that. I
No,
agree.
me neither.
I
I
don't
really
like that.
don't. And I love Moyes, but I just think that attitude that you just get from him just makes you think, ah. And for example, Vlasic is a no-brainer for me. And like you were saying, Lee, he's got that attitude because I remember when he signed, they said that his dad was a world champion athletic coach. His sister was like a long jump or high jump world champion.
Track star,
He comes from an athletic family, so he's not going to give up. You know, he's not got this far to give up with the Croatian team there. So Vlasic is a no-brainer. Fredericks, I think, will be good for the dressing room because he's got a good connection with Nobes. We've got a good connection with Rice and everyone like that. So that will be good. But I mean, Yarmolenko and Král, well, we've got to send them out. We've got to get rid of them. And
Král's on loan anyway. Král could just go.
And realistically, look at guys like Ashby, Baptiste, Longelo,
Absolutely,
Perkins, Okoflex, and realistically say, you know what? Are they up to it? Yes or no? And if it's a no, close that door and say, you know what? You're up for the under 23s, or you're quite willing to look for another club. Because otherwise, we just sit around saying, why don't you play Okoflex? Why don't you play Perkins? Why don't you play? Right. And they're never going to get a chance. So it's not good for them, and it's not good enough because we get this false squad depth. Because realistically, if you look at us on paper and you look at us at the realistic chances of who can be selected, they're two very different situations. And people look at me and friends say to me, they say, West Ham's got a big squad. And I say, no. We've got a lot of players. But the actual squad that gets selected from, because you could take off 8 youth players.
It's not a big squad when it's literally the same 3 substitutions every single week.
And there's 8 youth guys that are never going to get a look in.
And we have to start converting these academy guys. Now, I don't know if they need to go on loan first. I mean, I know under 23s to Premier League is a very big jump. You think under 23s is probably around the League One type level, realistically. Yeah. So it's hard to just say, well, let's throw these guys into the fire. And often you do that, and you have a situation like we had with the young striker we put in against Manchester United. What was his name? What's his name?
Meepo.
Meepo. We put him in that FA Cup tie that we lost a couple of years ago against Manchester United. Subbed him in, had to sub him back out because he wasn't, he didn't have he wasn't ready. So you can get into a situation like that where you destroy a player's confidence, but we have to move these guys along at some point. The Connor Coventry's, Okoflex, Perkins, Ashby, and Longelo both look very good to me at spells last season.
Ashby's probably at the top. If we're being realistic, he's probably at the top of the list of next to breakthrough. I wouldn't necessarily say Coventry is like part of that list anymore because
it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah, because I rate Connor Coventry. I think he is very tidy. I think he's better than Josh Cullen, and I rated Josh Cullen a lot.
Like Coventry's 22, so he better break through, or he's never going to break through.
I mean, he had a great preseason before he got loaned out to Peterborough. Misused him. Then he went to MK Dons, and they're calling him the Irish Pirlo.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is, again, it's still a big leap to make from MK Dons to the Premier League. But he's going to have to make it.
You got to remember the preseason we had. We played some good clubs.
He played Atalanta.
He played Brentford, Celtic.
I know.
I
we
think
were on
Connor
fire.
Coventry
he's actually.
I think Coventry deserves to be that last midfield option.
He's been Johnson's age, Declan Rice's age, and those guys are established Premier League players for us. Coventry's at that age where
make or break.
It's fish or cut bait. Yeah, I mean it's time. Like it either happens now or it doesn't happen.
And I think with the strikers, I think with the formation we play, with the setup we play. Okoflex, Perkins, Meepo if he comes back from, I think it was Huddersfield, where he was. I don't know where it was. Or Bolton.
He did.
Bolton.
He did Huddersfield and then Doncaster, I think.
And it's a very difficult position to play. For example, to play that Antonio role, like a young Perkins. For example, Perkins, I like the look of. Whenever I would like to watch some of the under 23 stuff. I like the look of Perkins.
I do too.
Okaflex as well. That Thierry Nevers as well has got a look about
Thierry
him.
Nevers, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But
Matt, I
but
went to the 5-0 against Derby County, and let me tell you, they all looked very fucking good.
But that's the thing. If you play that guy up front, it's very different to playing him alongside a seasoned striker. You know, because in the if you're asking Perkins to run the line, and in it, like you're saying, all Lee and everyone, in a system that's so defined, so plan A and plan A only, he's not going to be able to do that role in the way that Antonio does.
Well,
so
because we only use one up front,
formation.
We only use one up front. The problem is it's going to be hard to break a striker in. With you hate to put a 19-year-old up there and say, do it all yourself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because we don't use a strike partnership. We have one up front. And, he relies a lot on service. But it also is... It's a lot of pressure being alone in that situation.
Massive.
I think anyway. Meepo had 6 appearances and no goals for Huddersfield. He had 16 appearances and 2 goals for Doncaster Rovers. It's not much.
What was the other one? Was it Dapo?
Yeah, we sold him to Bolton though.
Yeah, we sold him. Yeah,
and he won Player of the Year in League One.
Unless he's still around. He's still around. I mean, when he stepped in and played against Dinamo back in the Europa League, he looked good, I thought.
Lucas,
that should have finished 0-0 because of that lucky deflection.
Well, it was just a brilliant goal. Yeah, not his fault. Anyway,
Lucas, you went to the 23s, and when I watch the 23s on tape, it doesn't look like they're playing the same system. So I don't understand. Really. So if you're not playing the same system, it's not a plug and play, right? Like,
right?
When I was a head coach, the JV team played my system. That's what you do because I want players to come up and be able to fit in. I don't want guys to come up that have to retrain them because that coach had his own system of play. And they're not doing the same thing. If you're not doing the same thing, trying to say, well, this guy can fit in here and this guy can do this, they're doing different jobs then. And so it's very difficult unless you're seeing the exact same formation to move in and play in a spot. And that's on Moyes, right?
Yeah.
Like he's the one that should be directing that.
Scott, I think that's an amazing point, mate. I think if you look at certain coaches like Guardiola, like Klopp, like Bielsa when he was at Leeds, etc., like Wenger when he was at Arsenal, there's a philosophy at the club, that comes from.
It showed the most with Bielsa, I think, because he would bring up young guys all the time, and
they should never have gotten rid of him. By the way, they should never have gotten rid of him. What a
stop!
Move.
And
well, it's true.
I think it's that philosophy, and you're right, Scott. That's a great point. I didn't think of that, and it's just that fact that maybe Moyes is so focused on the first team immediate success, and it's not a criticism to him, but maybe that's where he needs to take a step back from the day to day and build in that system that's going to go and provide us. Because at the end of the day, if we could get 1, maybe 2 youth guys that could come through each year, we'd be having different conversations about squad depth.
Yeah.
So I know a couple of guys in the coaching staff at El Paso Locomotive, right? And a couple of players. And I know Bob, who's in charge of the youth program. And Bob will take all of his direction from the head coach at the top, right? And I know Bob is the kind of guy that will just, hey, what do you want us to do? And we're going to do it your way. I may not like the system. It may not be for me, but that's what I'm going to do. And, when I taught, El Paso's bringing kids up from the youth program and doing those things. Now, again, we're talking USL, right? But it's the philosophy that's making that successful, right? So, they let it filter down. El Paso's got a new coach this year. So they had to completely change that system to make it fit what he wanted. And they did that. And I mean, again, their results are here and there and everywhere, but like their system is built up the right way because Bob isn't so in himself that, I'm going to play this system of play. He knows his job is to create players. And I don't think we have that philosophy at the club. We're just like, hey, 11-3s compete. Look at that. Well, that's great, but you're not providing us with much.
Yeah, and I wonder sometimes, I know this is going to sound strange, but our under 23s and under 18s both under 23s in particular, had a really good season. I mean, they I think they finished second in the table. But I mean, you have to wonder at some point, what are you accomplishing? Results versus development. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Results are great, but they don't mean anything at that level at all.
Correct.
You have to bring players through. So it's nice for them to play as a team and to get results together and bond and all that, but it kind of doesn't matter because they're never going to be in that group again. You're only going to have 2 or 3 of them come up.
How many times was I can't even think of his name now because he's already gone. Our Ukrainian friend. How many times was he starting for the 23s? What's the point of starting him for the 23s?
Oh, Yarmolenko?
Yeah. How many times did he play with the 23s? Why play him? What's he gonna bring something down to the youngsters? No,
not really. I mean, what's he gonna? No, I agree with you. I mean, the point is to get these guys trained to play first team football, and winning is not always what does that. Sometimes it's more because again, it's great to have a cohesive unit, but they will never be a cohesive unit like that again, because you won't get 11 or 15 under 23s all coming. Some of them aren't going to make it. Is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? You got to find the ones who are going to make it. You got to find those guys. You got to get them into more of a rotation with the first team and training or whatever. So, I mean, it's great that we've had these great results in the under 23s, but I wonder if it's at the expense of development as well.
I wonder how much Moyes is even going down. Again, when I go back to
I wonder about that too.
Programs I've seen, right? The head coach is at first team practice, but first team practice and second team practice take place at different times. First team, second team, youth teams, they all take place at different times. And the head coach is moving about all of those and getting in and, hey man, do this. This is what I want you to see, right? And if you're worried about results, that's what your problem's going to be. I can tell you as a head varsity coach at the high school level, right? I looked at my JV guy and I was like, I don't care if you win or lose every game. I don't care because I need guys, right? I'm going to need players. I need depth and I need to be able to pull guys. And if I can't pull guys, you're wasting my time.
Yeah. And whether we like it or not, look at all the players that have left us. Oxford, Nathan Holland, Grady, Domingos, Quina, the Portuguese kid.
Yeah.
Coventry, Ngakia left us.
Yeah.
The goalkeepers Trot and Anang that had a lot of impulse behind them and have not really lived up to anything.
Okay.
So, I mean, when going back to when really was the last player that broke through, I mean, apart from Rice and Rice,
Ben Johnson. It's Rice and Ben Johnson.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
And Rice was kind of like he was came to us from Chelsea.
Exactly.
Pretty well molded already. You know what I mean?
And Josh Cullen and I mean Dan Potts.
Yeah, and the only other one to get a start this season, I think Ashby played against United in the Cup, if I remember correctly, because that was when Sufal got kneed in the groin by that fucking asshole Matic.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
I didn't start, but I think he came in. He did decent.
But
like I said, I think Ashby is the next one up because I see a lot of potential.
All those guys who were going to be in the first team and they just never were. You named a bunch of them. Reese Oxford's still up there in Germany somewhere doing pretty well.
Yeah. What about the American guy? What's his name?
Leggett. He's in the U.S. national team.
I saw him the other day. Yeah.
Who does he play for? Does he play in MLS? Doesn't he, Lucas, play in MLS?
Sebastian. He plays for LA Galaxy.
He plays for LA Galaxy. I mean, he was another one. But, I mean, a lot of these names got thrown around and they just sort of never materialized.
Even
so you have Rice and you have Ben Johnson. That's kind of it.
If you look at the positions that broke through, D center mid, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty similar across systems, right? It just is. Outside, it's going to be pretty similar across systems, right? But our forwards and our wingers play such different systems that that's where we're wasting. Like that's where your money's spent in your youth system. You're spending money to train these guys to be competitive. That's why they go other places and they are successful. It's because they're going to places that play the same system that they played at the youth level. And players look at that too. Am I going to play in the same system? Is this the system that's best for me? right? When you're choosing a team, that's what you have to look at.
Well, we've had trouble. I mean, listen, Vernon brings this up, and I think we've talked about this a lot. I mean, Moyes, we can't find a striker at all. You know, he converts wingers. He converted Arnautovic. He's converted Antonio, and we've had some success. Don't get me wrong, a lot of success, but there's no depth there. And again, there's no plan B. There's no plan B. Antonio's out of form for 6 months. It's nothing you can do, you know, because there's nobody else there. So,
and then you got to remember he's stated several times in public and whatever that, like, whenever he talks about backup striker, he always says Bowen is my backup striker,
Correct.
which is a problem.
Well, I mean, because Bowen is, you know, I mean,
not saying that he can't do it, but it's a problem when your starting right winger
is your backup striker.
Striker, and you don't have a
you
backup
can't
right
bring
winger.
him in off the bench. You can't bring him in off the bench because he's already out there.
When your backup striker is not only when your backup striker is a right winger, and when your starting striker is a converted winger.
Right.
And then your right winger, if he has to play striker, you have no backup for him.
But you know, when we brought in Aller, the system didn't work for him. And a lot of strikers aren't going to like this system. They don't like the 4-2-3-1. They don't like the counterattack. They don't like being up front all alone. You know, it's difficult to find somebody who fits that role.
That's why I think Holzek.
Yeah. I don't know how to say his name
because he's young, but he's big. He's 6'2", I think 6'2", maybe around that size. Okay, he's not that big. He's Balkan. He's not that big. He's not that big yet, but obviously, you know, he can bulk up. He's Czech, so he'll fit in well with the Czech group that we've got. Yeah. And he's fast, and he'll give us something more of running the line. So I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer. If we're getting him offered by some way from Kretinsky, take a chance. Yeah. If we took a chance on Krall, take a chance on him.
Take a chance on him. Yeah.
And it would be a loan too, which we fucking love.
Yeah, well, I was going to say either a loan or a free transfer. That's
£2.50 for 25,000 years.
You throw Will Salthouse into the deal, and David Sullivan, you know, won't be able to control himself. You get a Will Salthouse client, it's guaranteed signing.
£1 hold check, £1 hold check, £1.
All right, so I am fading big time here for some reason between allergies and this weird cold that I have when it's like 75 degrees outside. Let's get some. There's so much more we could talk about. I know, I realize, but we're gonna have a whole
Dion Dublin style.
Well, there's gonna be a whole off season coming up soon, or closed season, I guess it's called, coming up soon, where we can talk about transfer rumors and all those things that spread like viruses and have largely the same negative effects. But let's talk about what y'all think. Let's go back to get some predictions for Sunday. I know we talked about tactics and a little bit about the game. What do you think is going to happen on Sunday? One, what's the score of our game? And two, do we end up in Europa or in Conference League? Anybody who wants to jump in, just jump in. By the way, let me just say this. This is insane. Okay.
No.
Is this what do you think? It's not insane?
It can't be true.
It can't be true. No. Why on earth would you get rid of somebody? It just doesn't make any sense.
It's not. I'll clarify it real quick if you're not aware. So apparently, there is. It's from X. So it is. It's just a little rumor though. The rumor is apparently Craig Dawson wants to go back up north to see his family, but that was misconstrued by people listening to the podcast. So take that for what you will.
X, as much as I have respected X over the years, he doesn't have the authority he used to have because Moyes has cracked down on a lot of these leaks. And we don't leak the way we used to. And I don't blame X for that. That's not his fault. It's just that the club is tighter than it used to be about communication. So this to me is okay. I mean, but he can. It's a small country. You know what I mean? He can go up there. It's not like you're having to fly from Miami to Seattle, right? He can see his family. He'll be fine. Anyway, we'll get into that. That's a great off-season topic. All right. So what do you guys think on Sunday? How does it work on Sunday? Do we what's our result and which European competition do we end up in?
2-1.
What do you think?
2-1. I think we win. I think we're going to break it. I'm optimistic. I think we'll win 2-1. I think this game for Vieira to take away Europa League football from Man United, I think will be massive.
Yeah,
so
he would lose.
I think Vieira's going to get the guys up for it.
I think he will too. I think he'll be up for it. I don't think there's no doubt in my mind they'll be up for it.
I have this spookily optimistic feeling that something will go wrong for United, and so I have this feeling
Palace. Who the fuck are Palace?
They're our best friends for the next few days.
Yeah, I've got that spooky feeling that I think we could sneak it. 2-1, I think we'll win. I think we've got that momentum, like Lucas says. I think we've got that impulse. I think we're going to want to go out on a high. But honestly, if we got Europa Conference, I'd still. I mean, we've got it guaranteed, obviously. But I mean, if we ended up in the Europa Conference, like we talked about with the quality of it, I really wouldn't be that disappointed. And honestly,
I'd be very happy.
I think we deserve Europa Conference to shove one up GSB to get them to get their checkbook out.
Yes.
You know?
I think you're right about that, Matt. I do. I'd be very happy with conference. It's European football. It's proper European football. Nothing wrong with it at all. Obviously prefer Europa, but conference is a competition we could win. And just as Europa League was. All right, Scott, what do you think about Sunday?
I like what Matt said. I'm thinking 2-1 us. I think same with Vieira. I think Vieira's going to want to put it to him. Man United's only plus 128, so even the gamblers don't have any faith in United. The biggest money there is on a draw, so a draw is a win for us. So if we win, they draw, we're in Europa. I think honestly though, I agree with Matt also that I think we deserve the third division. I think we deserve the Conference League.
Still European football, by the way. Which
I'm going to throw it out there though. If you had told me at the start of the season, all right, you're going to get semifinals of Europa, you're going to finish 7th.
You bet.
You're going to qualify for Europe again. I'd give my right arm.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't think twice about it. And
absolutely.
So, at a certain point in March, I was like, I'm not bad mouthing anything anymore.
Nope,
right?
I feel the same
We're
way.
playing with house money, and we've gotten the luck of the draw for the most part on injuries, which is I'm very grateful for, especially with Antonio spending a lot of time with the Jamaican national team who were worthless.
Oh, that was terrible. That was a terrible choice.
But even then,
it really hurt his season. Yeah,
I think we've earned 7th. I don't think we've played to a level where you would see us at 6th. Yeah. I think we've had too many.
No, I agree.
Too many stinkers.
Consistency, no.
We tried to fight on two fronts. No. It's hard to do. Look where Lyon ended up. Look where Frankfurt ended up. I know they won the Europa League, but the point is, look at Rangers way behind Celtic in Scotland. Look, everybody, even Barcelona had an off season by their standards. Everybody we were competing with in Europa League, except maybe Sevilla, they finished pretty well, but they lost in the first knockout round, right? They lost early, so exactly. So the point is, everybody who went to that quarterfinal and semifinal round with us struggled in the league. Everybody did, so it's normal that we struggle in the league. It's not anything to be ashamed of. Anyway, Lucas, go ahead. What do you think?
Again, I don't like that we're all on the same wavelength right now. Just for
you're something to bring us back to reality. Then,
I will be wearing the onesie, Lucas, for the game. Wearing the onesie in Vegas.
My gambling mind does not like when everyone's on the same side, but I'm not gonna steer my view because, like I said, I felt optimistic about Man City, and I wouldn't say I'm the most optimistic West Ham fan, but I'm not negative. Like I just like to think my view is realistic with the trend of how we're playing. But I'm not going to steer what I thought. I said the other day 2-0 just because I really do think we are going to carry that tiny bit of momentum with us into Brighton. And like I said, I think if we score first, I don't think Brighton is going to have that mentality to kick up the ass to
they have less to play for.
To put their life on the line to get back in the match. It's going to be like, okay, we conceded, We're going to keep playing hard, but whatever happens, happens. It's not like
Yeah.
we need to get back in this match.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck up, boys. Come on.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like that. So I
don't
think if we
either.
score first, I'm going to go 2-0. And I'm cautiously optimistic about United Palace. Palace is at home. Tomorrow, I think we'll have a better idea of how to feel on Sunday because they do play Everton tomorrow. So we will see if they play a strong 11 or not. But
Yeah.
I mean, again, with the trends that have been going on, I am confident that Palace can at least get a draw at home to United, and I think we can finally break the fucking bogey curse that is Brighton.
Alan is going to say the opposite of what I was thinking. First of all, I want to just say before we go, this has been a fantastic season that I've really enjoyed, and no matter what your expectations were going into it,
take away the Aaron Cresswell red card, I'd do it all over again.
Well, historically, and I posted something about this on Twitter, but I went and counted this up. I hope I counted correctly, but West Ham have 10 top 7 finishes in the top flight of English football in our history, counting this season. That's 126.
Let me add another positive note real quick.
Go ahead.
Before you go on. And shout out to Russie B for this because he did his own research.
Yep.
This is the first time since 1972 West Ham has scored in every single home match they've played this season.
Excellent point.
Absolutely brilliant.
And we beat 3 of the top 4 at home this year.
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
That's another thing.
Look at it from that point of view, right? We took it. The only team we didn't take full points from was City.
Yep.
I'll take it all day.
We knocked them out of their cup. We knocked them out of their competition that they'd won the last four years running. 10 top 7 finishes in the top flight of English football and
back-to-back European placements.
This is the first time we've ever had consecutive top 7 finishes in the top flight ever in the history of West Ham United ever. We've played in 5 European semifinals if you count Intertoto in 2001, whatever that was, 2000. If you're generous, we've played in 5 European semifinals going back our whole. So this season, a top 7 finish, which is 1 of 10, 2 consecutive top 7 finishes for the first time ever, and a European semifinal for the first time since 1976, or if you count Intertoto, the first time in 22 years. A fantastic season, a brilliant season, and I think David Moyes and the players and the staff deserve a lot of credit. And I've enjoyed it. So I know we complain a lot, but I just wanted to throw out there that I think it's been great. Let me just say, I'm just gonna be the turd in the punch bowl though, because here's what I think happens on Sunday.
Thank you. You need that's a big play from you. That is a big man play. Like you need to do that.
Listen. I think we win. I do. I think we win like 1-0. I think it's tough. It's squeeze your bum time. But you know what happens? Palace and Manchester United are drawing either 1-1 or 0-0. It comes down into injury time. You know what happens? You know what happens. That
PK.
Penalty to Manchester United. You got it, my friend. Penalty to Manchester United. They step up. They win. They go to Europa League. We go to Conference League, but at least we beat Brighton. That's my legit, no joke prediction. Absolutely.
Lee, I didn't even watch Man City, right? I went for a run and listened to it on Sirius XM.
Yeah.
And so I'm in my run, I'm getting my groove, and the minute they called the penalty, I stopped and I started screaming in the middle of the path, right? And like there's people riding bikes around me and just looking at me. And that's the first time I bought into to your conspiracy theory. I got home.
Oh yeah.
And I told my wife, I was like, I now I'm a believer. Right? I've been converted into the conspiracy.
I've been telling people you gotta after we literally had a criminal officiate our Europa League match. It's a real thing.
Criminal. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Correct. Yes.
He's reformed now. He's reformed.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I'm
change man.
You have to start wondering about, and we should do a whole show on this sometime. If I had the energy to come up with the the data, I would do it, but I don't really think I'm going to. If you looked at, decisions, refereeing decisions, where they're made, when they're made, the circumstances, who's playing, where the teams are on the table, I think you would find a very clear top six bias because they make the money. Manchester United and Chelsea and Liverpool, Arsenal certainly to some lesser extent Tottenham are global brands. All right, global brands in a way that we have fans all over the world, but in a way that we're not. They are global brands. People will bandwagon with them. People will buy that merchandise. It makes the Premier League a lot of money.
Yeah.
West Ham and Palace and Southampton and Wolves and Brighton, they don't really make any money for the Premier League. Not really. Not really. Not the way those big clubs do. TV money all over the world. Who gets the biggest, which games get the most viewers? Oh, it's Manchester United, Liverpool. It's Manchester City and Chelsea. It's all those things. So, yes, I absolutely think there's a bias, and I think it's built in. And I think we have to, every time we play a top six side, or we have a situation like Sunday where we need a result from a non-top six side, I think you're going to see it. I do. I think you're going to see it.
Hey, so for gamblers, the plays this weekend are a draw at Man City Villa, because that plays plus 600 for a draw Liverpool Wolves, and plus 600 Chelsea Watford for a draw.
Liverpool will thrash Wolves.
But those are the most likely results. I mean, you're not going to pick Watford to beat Chelsea at 1,700, right? Or Villa to beat City. I mean,
but a Villa draw gets.
I'm not going to throw seven. I'm not going to play at the plus 1,700.
But a Villa draw against City basically gives the lead to Liverpool, right? I mean, City have
if
to
Liverpool win, yeah.
Liverpool are going to smash Wolves. Wolves are in disarray. They're terrible. I'm sorry. They look awful. I don't know what happened to them. They fell off, and they just seem really, they just seem to have completely collapsed.
Wolves are a team that we say here that they've lost their north. They've lost their north.
Yeah. I don't know what happened, but it's a kind of a disaster.
Thank goodness they did.
Frankly, happened.
I was glad they were the ones chasing us.
I was too. It happened at a great time for us because it's what led us into Europa League. Conference League, when we had our own issues dealing with trying to fight on two fronts. Wolves just fell apart. I don't really care who wins the title. I guess I'd rather it be City only because I don't want to see Liverpool win everything.
Definitely.
I do not like City's owners at all. I do like City's fans.
Yes.
And so in that sense, begrudgingly, I'd say
we cannot have Liverpool win anything.
We can't have Liverpool win 4 trophies. They don't deserve 4, do they? I don't think they do.
How harsh is it that the fans on the other side of that city, right, could go down? Right? Like Liverpool can win 4 or 5 trophies this year and Everton goes down. That would rip that city. There might be a civil war in that city.
In a perfect world, Burnley.
I got to go watch the West Ham match in Everton. Great fans, absolutely top notch, man. Like, hey, welcome, yeah. It was like being a college football game at a real, not against your rival.
Hey, Lucas, are you going on Sunday?
Yes.
To Brighton?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Tom.
Lucas, can you stay home?
Tom, if you're still
watch it in the pub.
Tom, if you could do something to just
Hey, I went and we drew against City. That's a win.
That's true. That's not a bad result. Okay,
I've got the momentum.
I'll give you that. That's a good result. I'll give you that. All right. Well, have fun.
Will you at least put the man bun in? I mean, I need something. You got to do something different for us.
I'm wearing my lucky kit.
Okay.
I'm wearing my Decanio Dr. Martin Claret pinstripe kit with navy with dark navy corduroy pants. The lucky outfit.
Oh, that's nice. Gonna be a lady killer.
So we'll be able to see you on TV, right? They pan across you, Lucas.
Yes.
I hope.
Lucas.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you, the English glasses.
I'm telling you, the limbs will be absolutely unreal if we're like winning 2-0 at halftime and we see Palace up 2-0. Oh my God.
Hey Lee, so I did finally watch your TV show you were talking about.
Ted Lasso?
The Lasso, right?
Yeah.
So we finally watched it.
Yeah.
All right. All right, not bad. And then the fact that I got your West Ham reference.
Yes.
And I was like,
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. So I don't know. Maybe I set too high an expectation for you, but I thought it was a great show.
Oh, actually, before we go, just quickly, we should give our relegation prediction.
Oh, that's
Who's
a good
going
idea.
down on the last day?
Tommy is quite right about this.
And I also agree.
That's usually
Sunday
the case.
is going to
by
be
the way.
insane.
yeah.
Sunday's going to be bonkers.
Top 4, top
Bonkers.
6, champions of the league and relegation. Absolutely unreal last day.
Don't you feel as though Tottenham might just lose to Norwich just because they're Tottenham and ended up bottling?
I was literally going to say that Sunday is one of the most conflicting days of my life when it comes to the Premier League, because don't get me wrong, and I've said this all season, don't get me wrong, I hate Tottenham.
I know.
But this season and for a long time, Arsenal fans, I just cannot fucking deal with them. They're shameless, insufferable.
I'm with you.
Entitled to everything. I hate them.
It's a weird
so much.
feeling. It's a weird feeling to me. It's not that I want Tottenham to succeed, but I really want Arsenal to fail.
Because, and I've said this for a while now.
Yeah.
I
really want them to fail.
Tottenham don't have the entitlement that Arsenal has.
No, they
That's
don't.
Why
They
I
don't.
hate Arsenal
Exactly.
so much.
Well,
they hold on to the Invincibles
Arsenal
for
fans
as long
throw
as
the
they can.
best temper tantrums.
Arsenal
They do
fans
throw
on
the best
Twitter-
temper tantrums I've ever
and
seen.
they're a waste of
and they record
absolute shit.
themselves.
Yeah.
They
No,
record
Yes.
themselves throwing temper tantrums.
That's outrageous. The stuff that they do. I mean, you never listen.
But I'm gonna go with Or sorry, Lee. Continue.
No, go ahead. I wasn't gonna say anything. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say who did Burnley play?
Now Burnley play Villa tomorrow.
really, yeah.
Yeah, Burnley have 2 matches.
Everton
in
Everton
hand.
are home to Palace. I think Everton are going to survive. Everton are home to Palace. Burnley away to Villa.
What about on the last day? Who Burnley play?
And then on the last day,
Everton are at Arsenal. Everton are at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Burnley are
Newcastle. They have
Newcastle's
Newcastle.
at Burnley.
Oh,
Newcastle,
Leeds
that's
has
tough,
Brentford.
man. Newcastle, that's tough because
I think. And
Yeah.
Everton and Leeds still have to play each other or no, they don't. Never mind.
No, Leeds have Brentford. That's a tough. Yeah, away to Brentford. That's tough, man.
I think
that's tough. I don't know.
I'm gonna go with what the heart wants. I think Leeds and Everton will survive by a fucking hair.
I do too.
I think Burnley's gonna choke.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we need him to go down. I'm tired of 3 Clarendon Blue clubs. It's terrible.
I know.
There's only room for 2 at most.
Well, Burnley. I like.
And they sacked Sean Dyche for no reason. Fuck
Right.
them. I love Sean Dyche.
I like the clubs that punch above their weight. Okay, I don't mind that at all. I have a heart for the underdog.
But they've done it for too long.
I don't like their style. There's just nothing to that club. Do you know what I mean? There's no charm. There's nothing to Burnley that makes me think I want Burnley to stay up. Why on earth would you want Burnley to stay up? There's
I'm
no
like a
reason.
little bit the
There's no
opposite.
reason.
Like I like them, but they've just been here for too long.
They
with the
just
way they
feel.
Too
I
long.
mean,
Have
I
you
don't
ever been
want
to
to
Turf
lose.
Moor? Have you guys ever been to Turf Moor?
No.
I've never been to Burnley at all.
It is. I mean, I think there's shopping malls in the US that could fit more people in than Turf Moor. I mean, it's like Bournemouth. You know, if you ever go to Bournemouth, I mean.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I've heard
Bournemouth
about-
only
I've
have
heard
like
about
17,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would be surprised if Turf Moor is bigger than 20,000. It's absolutely, I mean, for Premier League ground, it's absolutely ridiculous. And like you say, Burnley don't offer anything to the Premier League. I mean, they're an underdog. It's a nice thing. Sean Dyche did well, you know, but
Clarendon Blue, yeah.
Brentford's an underdog. Let's keep Brentford in the Premier
yeah,
League.
but
as an
Brentford's a
underdog.
London
That's fine.
club, and you know, being a
Right.
Londoner, I mean, any team that's north of London, you automatically dislike, you know. So at least
Right.
there's, you know, we want teams like Fulham, you know, Brentford that don't really do any harm, you know. I mean, it's good to have a few more London clubs in the Premier League, but
I do too. I want
Yes.
Forest coming back up. No question about it.
yeah, that's
Need
a
it.
great Premier
Need
League
it.
team.
Forest all the
Great
way.
Premier League team
Proper
from the
club.
90s. You know, they were a powerhouse in the 90s.
And it would make
Talking
Stuart
about-
Pearce happy as well.
Yep. 100% behind Forest to come up and Huddersfield not to come up. I'm with you. I'm with you guys. I think it'll be the 3 that are in the bottom now. I think it'll be Burnley, Watford, and Norwich. I think Everton are going to make it, and I think Leeds stay up by the skin of their teeth, and then we'll see what happens to their American manager after that. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Would you go for Maxwell Cornet, if Burnley
I
went
would.
down?
Possibly, yeah. Possibly.
We're interested in Josh Brownhill, who I also really like.
Yes. Yes, and
I mean, Leeds going down would make it easier for us to get Calvin Phillips.
Yeah.
Which would be good for us, right? There's no doubt about that, but would certainly make him cheaper and more available and more likely to be available.
I love Leeds being in the Premier League. They're such a Premier League club to me. I need them. I need them.
Well,
yeah,
they have proper support. It's just a big English club. It's a big English club with history.
Like the only other team we're really missing to get back in the Prem besides Nottingham Forest, like if we could somehow get Blackburn back in, that'd be beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I look at clubs not by their success, but by their fans. I like clubs. I don't care if they're successful. I'd rather not be successful, right?
Even Sheffield, I liked Sheffield in the Premier League. Their fans are insane. And Bramall Lane is one of my favorites.
Sheffield United.
There.
That's rough. Yeah, I don't know.
Bramall Lane is one of my favorite grounds.
But they tried to kill us, Lucas. Remember with the Tevez thing? They tried to destroy us.
I'm surprised, Lucas. You're saying you hold grudges at a level of death. I'm surprised.
You almost got to respect the lunacy.
I don't think I could do that. Blackburn, I'll agree.
I would
like Middlesbrough back up. I always liked Middlesbrough. They were with Juninho and in that period.
Yeah.
They had a really nice. They played really nice football.
I would take. I mean, there are clubs down in the lower divisions like Sunderland. It'd be a great club to have back up at some point.
Hopefully one day.
Did you ever watch the All or Nothing?
I haven't never watched it. I should.
Oh,
I've never
sad.
seen it.
It's sad.
Yeah, no.
Sunderland till I die.
Yeah, Sunderland till I die.
It's amazing.
Netflix, yeah.
Great club with. I look at clubs as, what's their support like? What are their fans like? Do they have a lot of fans, and what are their fans like? And you look at
Stadium of Light is a phenomenal ground.
That's why I think it's good. It's better for the Premier League if Leeds stay up as opposed to Burnley. It's a more intriguing game,
Yeah.
And it's a club that.
And they hate United, and I hate United.
Well, they're just if you were going to draw up your sort of perfect Premier League, you'd have Nottingham Forest in there. You'd have Leeds in there. You'd have Sunderland. I would have Sunderland in there personally. You'd have some clubs that have, even if it's not success, they have a lot of history. Do you know what I mean?
Sheffield Wednesday.
Sheffield Wednesday is a great.
Sheffield, I'd take Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
And how crazy would that be? How crazy would that be next season if we'll have Fulham, Bournemouth, and hopefully Nottingham Forest come up? And how crazy would it be if Fulham, Brentford both survived? We would have so many London clubs. It'd be insane.
Yeah. Well,
I would love that.
Watford, they're not a London club, but they're London adjacent, and they might bounce right back up.
Yeah, we still count them as.
Yeah, I mean they might bounce. You could have half the league would be London clubs, potentially. Yeah, it could be crazy. It's a lot of derbies though. It's less travel.
I love a derby.
Everybody loves a derby. All right. I'm sorry, I am fading a little bit here. I got to get up early in the morning, so I think we're gonna wrap it up this time for real. Yeah, it's true. Norwich, Watford, Bournemouth, and Fulham. Norwich, Watford, Bournemouth, and Fulham, because just have a four club sort of,
a black hole of mediocrity.
Right, exactly. They have their own division where they just
black
play.
Hole of disappointment.
It's not the European Super League. It's like the English Mediocrity League.
And one gets to come up every year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No promotion relegation.
1 and 2 for the championship.
Just the four of them in perpetuity playing each other forever and ever and ever.
And I'm sorry, I have to put them back in here. We need Bolton back in the Prem. We need them back.
Oh God, I hate Bolton.
I love
so
Bolton.
much. Oh, but they used to be our buggy team.
I think I prefer Charlton or Ipswich or somewhere one of the old.
Charlton, that's
like
a good shout actually. Charlton,
I only say that because because Bolden JJ Okocha, easily top 5
Yeah.
favorite player of all time.
Well, yeah, I actually like the Charlton idea, to be honest. Bolton, I used to hate playing Bolton. Oh man, I used to hate when Bolton were in the Premier League. Anyway, sorry, I'm fading a little bit here. So, everybody in the chat room, it was great to have you here. We will hopefully do one more show next Wednesday to wrap up the season and so forth. And then I don't what the closest is going to be like. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But Scott in Reno and Lucas, who's still in Essex apparently, and Matt
Yes.
down on the where'd he go? I'm always pointing the wrong way because
Don't call it London.
There you go, Matt. Matt down in close to Mexico. It was good to have you guys. Thank you for being on the show. Really appreciate it. And everybody else, let's just hope for the best on Sunday. And come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
Yes.